right, welcome to Massive Media. We are live on YouTube. It is Saturday afternoon, July 11th. 4th of July was already a week ago, if you can believe it, which is absolutely incredible. Starting the show a little early here, about 2 minutes early. Just was ready to go. I've been ready to go since like 10:30 this morning, quite honestly. So I wanted to get going and get this show on the road and start talking about everything. I see some folks tuning in already, including Emily C., who the sun is shining. It is a sunshine-filled day out there today. I was only out there briefly today. I got some stuff to do later outside. I'll take care of it after. I'm like, I got to get my show, and I got to get my Saturday show. And even though it's a beautiful day out there, it's great weather. Good to see everybody. Thank you guys so much for being here. Granny Debbie is here. The Goodmans is here. Scorpio's here. Darlene's here. Bobby Jean in the house. Devitt is here as well. I think Scorpio already gave you a shout out. We'll give you a second shout out. There you go. All right. Radhouse Media is here. Hamnesia is here. Superstition Man in the house. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm excited about today's show. Dizzy, how are you? Nancy, good afternoon. Keith, how are you? Good to see everybody. Great day. Started off my day with eggs and bacon. Bacon is absolutely fantastic. Got to have my eggs and bacon, which is utterly amazing. Gonna be a big show. I'm really not going to go in too much of a planned manner. I'm going to kind of go a little bit unpredictably. And actually, Kelly's here. I'm probably going to be reading a few of Kelly's tweets today as well. Kelly on Twitter has been fantastic. These tweets, always great recaps. A lot of great information. A lot of times, if I'm trying to get caught up, I usually just go to her tweets and just read through them a little bit. So that's been fantastic. Fantastic job done by her. Emily C., you guys probably already following her. Make sure you follow her. She does a fantastic job. Talks about the cases. Also does a brand of comedy and a lot of short videos that are hilarious as well. So follow Emily C. as well. And then Red House Media is here. Red House Media does a great job. They have a group of people that get together pretty frequently. I'm sure they'll probably even be on tonight. They usually are on ahead of Turtleboy. They have a group gathering, and they talk about a lot of things that are going on throughout the week, watch a lot of videos, good catch-up show as well. If you're looking to get caught up, they kind of do a great job of collaborating a lot of different things into one show, which is awesome. So I didn't fire up the Blackstone for that, but tomorrow I'll be operating on the Blackstone. It's going to be chicken stir fried, and I'm going to make chicken breast with red peppers, green peppers, onions, mushrooms, and broccoli. And I found a sugar-free teriyaki sauce. I'm on keto diet again. And my ketosis diet's fantastic. It's a great way to lose weight. I put on a lot of weight in the past year. I was down to 227 last summer. I shot all the way up to 250 over the last winter. I just got like a taste for sweets again and a lot of birthday cakes. So my weight went up, but I'm down to 240. So I'm already down 10 pounds. I want to get down to at least 230 by the end of August. I think I'm on pace for that now. So eating well is the most important thing. Now that the 4th of July is over, now I'm good till Halloween. So maybe Labor Day, But, Memorial Day, all the birthdays, all that stuff, my weight just shoots up like crazy. So I'm 6'5", yeah, and I carry the weight well. And 1 second. All of a sudden I hear music playing in the background, and I realize it's my YouTube page, because I usually put my YouTube video up in another tab just to make sure the show starts. And all of a sudden I'm hearing an advertisement play, and I'm like, what's going on back there? Yeah, I'm working on the weight. The weight's coming down quickly, which is great. But yeah, lightweight. Yeah, 225 is probably my more ideal weight. So for the fitness level I want. So that's pretty much where I like to keep it. Yeah. Yeah, Blackstone's great for all the breakfast. I never cook breakfast on it. I usually cook the dinners on that. Most of the videos I post, obviously. So yeah. Look, it's a great day. It's a sunny, beautiful day, and I thank you guys for being here, tuning in to my show today. Be sure to like and subscribe to this channel, as we always say. Be sure to like and subscribe to this channel. Yeah, 227 pounds might be a more ideal weight. 227 is a real great number. They say it's like the number that reveals all, for sure. So that's for sure. So yeah, I'm happy to be back. May possibly be back tomorrow. Me and Mo Esk are talking about doing a show, having Mo West on my show. We're trying to narrow down an exact time. So look out for an update from me and Mo West coming soon, hopefully, if not tomorrow, maybe next weekend. So we're working on that. I've wanted her on the show for a long time. We're probably going to talk just like an open session about Turtleboy, Karen Reed, all the things that are going on there. And then KY Maverick. We're working on a fundraiser for KY Maverick. If you're not aware of KY Maverick, he's a gentleman that's been on this show many times for Kelsey Fitzsimmons fundraisers. He's an advocate for Kelsey Fitzsimmons, Karen Reed, Turtleboy, very smart man, and is having some health issues that he's been reporting on his page, and his GoFundMe is out there. I don't have the link on me right now, unfortunately. It should be on his page. But he is he's in need of some financial donations. So me, Lori Mullen, Lauren Katie from Common Sense Investigator are working behind the scenes right now to get something going. Probably for next Sunday, the 19th, is going to be probably the target date for that. So everybody's been asking. We've been putting it together. We had to actually wait for KY Maverick's go ahead because a couple of weeks ago we were looking to do it, and then we got told to just wait. And now we have the green light. We're going to move forward more than likely next week. Common Sense Investigator is actually going to more than likely host that. So she's going to take care of hosting duties. I'm going to take care of more than likely, counting the dollars and all that. And we actually have to give some go. Emily, thank you for being so effective here with that link posting. Thank you. So we have KY Maverick, Give, Send, Go here. If you want to make a donation to him and help him out, please go ahead. I believe that link does have a description of exactly what he's going through and what his exact needs are. And if you're not aware or need more information, look up KY Maverick on X, and you can find some information as it pertains to him, what he's going through. He provides a lot of updates and all that. And it was amazing. He got up here for Kelsey Fitzsimmons' trial when I got to meet him. And he's a very, very wonderful person. So the link is there, ladies and gentlemen. If you'd like to help out KY Maverick. And if you can't make a donation, if you could send that link around, that's good to go. So let's see here. Dizzy, let's see. Certainly a possibility. I really don't know who Matt Mazzamedia said he's going to talk about, so maybe he has some thoughts on who it could be. Yes, that's correct. I am going to talk about the tweet from Aiden that just came out. Before I started the show, I had a little bit of a concern with my X main page on X. There was a Spaces going on, and apparently somebody I follow on X was in a space with a bunch of accounts that I do not recognize, and they had this volatile name for their space, and I'm like, I can't have this. I'm about to do a show, and it had two controversial words in the title. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, who are these channels? And it says, I'm not going to give out the name, but it's a person you follow that follows you is in this space right now. And it had this. I go, I can't be sharing my X page. And it has these controversial words on screen. So I'm like, I'm looking up before the show, like how to get this fixed. Finally, I just decided to go to the spaces, find the person that's hosting the spaces, and just block them. Got rid of it. So I'm like, all right, good, because I just don't want this on the screen. It's like, this is ridiculous. And sometimes these random spaces pop up and you don't know who these people are, what they're even talking about. And it's like, X is funny like that. So I'm like, I need to get this out of here. So I'm like, get away from me now. Get off my page. All right, good. So we have the 4th of July is behind us. It's a great weekend right now. Let's get started. Oh, wait. Having a little one with a little own with cancer on chemo and traveling to St. Jude's a little one with cancer on chemo and traveling to St. Jude every few months. I know the struggle, and he's doing so much. Prayers for you and your family, Kelly, as well on that. That's a very difficult thing to go through. And St. Jude's been a terrific hospital for just making sure kids and everyone has what they need. So that's prayers up for you. And if you need anything in terms of donations, let us know. We can always send your link around, Give, Send, Go around. Yeah, spaces can be intense. Here's my super secret spaces habit. Sometimes I'm in spaces, but it's only for like a minute or two. I go in there anonymously. I listen for like a second or two, and then I just leave. I can't stay in there very long. I'm just curious, like, what are they talking about? then I just leave. Like, yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, I don't usually stay in spaces very long at all. So, all right, let's get underway. So again, there's really no order of how I'm going to talk about things today, but I'm going to talk about a few tweets. Kelly, I had a question for you, Kelly. I was going to ask you, these tweets that you make, are you gathering, are you making these summaries yourself, or are you gathering that information from some other means, like a copy? I always wondered that because it's so perfectly done. I'm like, is she doing it herself and she's amazing, or is she gathering the information and she's amazing? It's one or the other. But I was curious about that last night because these things, these write-ups you make are extremely thorough. And they're really great breakdowns. We're going to go over a few of your tweets shortly. I want to start off with Turtleboy because I just saw it asked about in the comments section here because this just came out from Aiden. So let me get Sharon here. Get the zoom level just right, and we see that lonely picture of Michael Proctor. Gotta do my deposition. Andrea Stewie, good to see you. All right, here we go. And there we go. All right, perfect. We are there. Good. The zoom level. Maybe we can go a little bit more in on the zoom. Let's see. Okay, that might work. All right. This is up to what, 200% now? That works for me. Yeah, a little shout out here from Allison for Kelly. Kelly, God bless you and your little one. It makes a difference to have a hospital the caliber of St. Jude's. Amen to that. It's a lot more tragic when it's kids that get sick. You know, it's just, I had a close friend that had, when the child was born, you know, had some health issues, and it just, we had to donate, you know, we donated and we spread the link, saved her life, you know, which was amazing. We're gonna talk about that a little bit. That's a great question. All right, Terry, good to see you as well. Thank you for joining us. Excellent. Yeah, you know, Kelly's tweets are amazing. Like, I sit there and I'm like, sometimes the hardest part about all of this is, you know, I'm very busy. I have a very busy life, like everybody does, you know, and I don't have the time to like find every detail. Makassi's in the house. And it's just nice to have like a tweet that has like everything summarized, which is fantastic. So I love Kelly's tweets. All right, so let's get into it here. So Aiden had this tweet. He said, here's a picture of Michael Proctor sitting outside his deposition on June 25th, pretending to have a panic attack so that he could avoid going back in. He is now alleging that this information came from Karen Reed, but as you can see from this still photograph, it obviously came from another source who witnessed this public display of shame. And notably, it is all in black and white. He looks like a mysterious man in black, perhaps. Kelly says, gathering info together that I can get and then have AI help me write it to make sense. That's perfect. I have to dumb down the legal knowledge. I figured it helps me summarize. Yeah, that's good. No, that's really good. You gather the info, you send it to AI summarize. That's perfect. That's good. That puts everything in good perspective for us so we can just read it out and all that. So you see him looking like a very sad person here. You know, he's upset because this man has chosen to attempt to. Sarah B. Creatives in the house. Want to say hello to you. Good to see you. Thank you for being a great mod for a long time. Just popping in quickly to send lots of love. Well, thank you so much. All right. Yeah, it's this man. I don't, he's at least one of the least sympathetic people of all time is Michael Proctor. There's no sympathy for this guy. This guy, even when you take away the whole facet of, Andrea's like, no mercy. She's like, good. I'm glad he's upset. And may he burn in hell. All right. Yeah, so this guy, regardless of whatever he did to Karen, right? Regardless of anti-Karen Reed versus free Karen Reed perspectives on did he or did he not, doesn't matter. This guy's texts tell the whole story of racism and other matters that even the state police couldn't even keep this guy employed. And even they didn't even want to represent him in court any longer. That's what's happened to this guy. To quote the old Biff in 2015 and Back to the Future 2. Your old man who took his life and completely flushed it down the toilet. Okay, that's what Michael Proctor did. He took his life and he completely flushed it down the toilet. Because, you know, that's the thing, is when people like Karen Reed, people like Aidan Carney, people like Kelsey Fitzsimmons, anybody else that's ever been unjustly persecuted, eventually the people that commit this act eventually meet judgment, eventually meet, other people like to say, I like to say judgment. Some people like to say karma. I just feel like judgment comes to people that do horrible things to people and knowingly do that without having a moral compass or a conscience. And that's the situation here. The fact of the matter is, and I do not care what anti-Karen Reed has to say, the fact of the matter is that Karen Reed did not commit this crime. 2 juries agree because neither jury could convict her. Okay, the second trial, the jury acquitted her. And that's the bottom line. That's the bottom line, ladies and gentlemen. And as far as I'm concerned, all the evidence points in the direction of not only Karen Reed's innocence, but that there was tampering and manipulating going on. Sally Port video came out this week that we saw on X, and it shows that taillight lit up like a Christmas tree. Okay? Lit up like a Christmas tree. There's no question about it at all. And with that said, these people attempted to ruin Karen Reed's life. For what purposes? For what reason? Other than to try to help out people that were trying to help out whoever the hell really did this. And those are the facts. I'm going to find that Sallyport footage. Hold on. We're getting it. I don't like that comedian. That was Erica Rhodes, by the way. I did not like her jokes at all. Let's see if we go. Here we go. Is that the footage? Let's see. 1 second. Do I not have the footage? Do I not have it saved? Oh, we'll just go with this then. We'll go with this. We have it. This is good enough. We'll go with this. I'll go with that. There we go. Okay, perfect. All right, so we have this footage here that has come about. Let's see if this zoom in works at all. That's good. This footage came out this week, and for some reason I don't have the footage bookmarked. I apologize. But this is now information that shows Karen Reed's Lexus going into Sallyport. Look at the taillights. Whether this footage is inverted or not, look at the taillights. It's on. It's on. It's on. So that tells me one thing. Whatever happened to that taillight undisputedly happened inside Sallyport. And it's just like we always thought. It happened in the Sallyport. There was tampering. They were working in that Sallyport like it was Santa's workshop with a hammer or whatever else they used to absolutely modify that vehicle to fit. And people always said, I always said this too. They always said, why the need to shatter the taillight? I'll tell you why. It's very simple. Because John O'Keefe had arm wounds that needed an explanation. If you're trying to stage or frame somebody, you have to basically have a crime scene that matches. Like, we have to justify the arm wounds. And to justify the arm wounds, I remember Olivia, I can't remember, I think she was on my show one time, or she was in the chat one time, or we tweeted. I can't remember how we communicated this, but we talked about it. And I said, Olivia, I go, it's my belief that when Karen Reed backed out of One Meadow Lane and hit John O'Keefe's vehicle, that created a hairline crack in her taillight. They saw that, got an idea, and went off that. It just happened to be a major coincidence. That's my theory. That's my honest theory. Is I think that's what basically happened. I think they saw that crack and said, hey, what if we just shattered this fucking taillight? Pardon my friend. Hey, what if we just shattered this taillight? What if, he's got all these arm wounds. What if she backed up, hit him, shatter, and this taillight just went into his arm. But here's the thing. Here's the thing about, like, say, let's look at, like, maybe Glass, for example. Anybody remember Die Hard? Bruce Willis stepping on glass, and then he's in the bathroom and he's pulling glass out of his foot. Glass typically would stick into your skin. So why would a vehicle going in reverse with shattered taillight cut the arm? We're going to play here with the Commonwealth's theory. Let's say, to their theory, the vehicle went in reverse, the taillight shattered, the taillight caused the wounds. What about this? Because I never had this thought till now. All this time I've been covering it, I never had this thought till now. If the taillight shattered and caused all those wounds, then why didn't the taillight, like glass would, stick inside of his skin? Wouldn't they have found him with, like, taillight literally stuck in his arm? That would have had to have been plucked out. Because some of the glass would have got stuck in his arm. Or taillight, probably at least a portion of it. Or maybe some small fragments at least. Or at least maybe just one little fragment. Maybe a microscopical fragment somewhere. Wouldn't it, some of that, if it was going to cause that kind of wound, wouldn't it not get stuck in his arm? Wouldn't he have not have been in the ER? And they're like, my God, we're taking out more taillight from this guy's arm than you could imagine. It's undeniable that this woman was hit by a vehicle, right? But that's another question right there. Why was there no blood on the taillight? To that point, in addition to, Kelly adds the next argument, which is, why was there no blood on the taillight? These are just common things. Yeah, and this is another point. The remaining taillight would have pieces of skin on it. So one way or another, to RHM's point, to my point plus RHM's point, whether it goes one way or another, let's say a few pieces got stuck in the arm, let's say other pieces went in the arm, then fell to the ground, whichever way that taillight would have gone, ultimately, that there would be evidence of that. It'd be undisputed. And that's why it just amazes me that people out there actually think Karen Read did this. This comedian Erica Rhodes this week, or was posted this week, had some jokes. And it was really, in my opinion, I know comedians are the way they are. They don't really know everything about everything, but they kind of mocked Karen Read's defense, I felt. She kind of mocked Karen Read's defense, I felt. But overall, you look at this, and this is why I always say, there's no argument that you can make that could suggest that Karen Read did this. And really the only reason why Karen Read was there on trial, or we're even talking about Karen Read, is because they pointed the finger at her, the police, and said, Karen Read did it. It was Karen Read. Karen Read did it. It was all Karen Read. She did it. It was her. And Karen had to fight her way out of it. Right? It's just like Kelsey Fitzsimmons. Kelsey Fitzsimmons admitted in her interview recently she didn't even know she was going to be accused of trying to shoot Officer Noonan until they said, it was Kelsey, she tried to shoot us, and I shot her in self-defense. The cops framed the situation, framed the person, and then that person went on the stand, and the public was asking whether Karen or Kelsey were innocent, guilty or not, instead of asking the real question, what the hell really happened? What the hell really happened? But I'll tell you, it just amazes me there's still people out there that think Karen Read did this. That still think all of us. They try to say, like, oh yeah, Aidan Carney got all these people to be manipulated into believing this. No. Aidan Carney was able to pull this off because he had a great platform, but he had a case that was compelling, right? Aidan has told many stories, covered many stories, but this story was extremely compelling. And it had so much juice that he had the time to keep writing about it, right? And as he continued to write about it, people were like, whoa, this is wild stuff. So it was Aiden's ability on his own to share this story, to build this network of people. There's no question about that. It would have never been like this without someone just like Aiden Carney with that ability. But it was the perfect pairing of Aiden Carney with a story that was so wild that everyone that read it was able to believe it. Just like myself, longtime reader of Turtleboy, followed many of his articles for years. And this was the, usually I'd read his articles, it's just like every day. You read, the old days, you read the paper, you read an article on, okay, what's this post today? Okay, let me read it. Then you read it. And just like the news, after a day, you're kind of like, oh, I read that article. Maybe I remember it or not, right? You move on. And maybe the next day you read the next article and you move on to the next, right? But this was a story I was like, whoa. Like Biggie said, when Pac died at first, I was like, whoa, it was, when Pac was shot, I was like, whoa, that's what he said. When I read this story, I was like, there was so much more, like, for this article that Aiden had written, there was so much around it that you kind of wanted to find out what he was going to write about it the next day. Then the third day comes, and you want to know what he's going to write about the third day, and the fourth and the fifth. And at first, even when I was initially following these articles, I was like, I'll have interest in this for like a week or two. And like with anything in my life, I'll just move on to my next interest and, whatever. But that's not what happened. I kept reading and reading and reading about this stuff. And I was like, wow, this is an intense story. Aiden's out here. He's got all these people because this story has a lot of juice. Now you look at this picture here that comes out, and you have all of us saying for a long time, Karen Reed's defense, first and foremost, saying that something went on in Sallyport. And then you turn around and lo and behold, you look at this and you say to yourself, my goodness gracious, look at, where's my correct share here? 1 second. There we go. Lo and behold here's a video, a photograph of a video. There's the Lexus and the taillight looks perfectly lit up. That vehicle wouldn't even get stopped by cops for having a bad taillight. That's how in good condition this taillight is. Good afternoon, Tiff. Good afternoon, Jay and Hull. Good afternoon, Darlene. It says, Mazza is the invested, sincere, and competent. Thank you so much. Yeah, exactly. And free the First Amendment. That's exactly a great point. The other thing that's very concerning about all this is the fact that they continued, just like Berkowitz did, continued to find taillight as time went on. Why was not all the taillight gathered at that time? Why was the crime scene closed? And then after it was closed, taillight was still being found. That does not make sense. Ladies and gentlemen, this does not make sense. To quote Johnny Cochran on South Park, ladies and gentlemen, this does not make sense. And that's exactly it. And all in all, and Melanie Little's been saying this about the civil case, they're going to have to prove that Karen Reed hit John O'Keefe. But when you have footage like this, and the police said that she drove in reverse, taillight shattered, and then, the defense is like, well, here's footage of the vehicle being pulled into Sallyport, and the taillight is perfect, pretty much in perfect shape from what we can tell. Maybe there's a hairline crack in there from when she backed into John O'Keefe's vehicle at One Meadow Lane, which can easily be justified with video footage backing that up. But you have clear as day footage showing, well, here's the vehicle. There's going to be a timestamp on this somewhere, is there? 11. It's hard to read here. January 29, 2022 at maybe, I don't know, 11:30 at the time doesn't. It says 11:36 p.m., which does not make sense. It says main driveway, Sallyport, 11.36.37.05 p.m. GMT. It shows the hours. I don't know. It's tough to read that out, those hours. But what's Karen's defense going to say? Civil defense team going to say? Well, you know what? Yeah, they're saying, Diller's over here saying Karen Reed killed John O'Keefe, but here's footage from the Sallyport, and I want John's family to pay close attention to this. If you guys don't mind paying close attention to this, there's footage of the Sally port, and in the Sally port footage, the taillight is intact. The taillights, both of them, even if this footage is inverted or not, this taillight's intact. It's clear as day. It's there. It's in the footage. It's intact perfectly. My God. You know, what more argument do you need as someone that supports Karen Read to prove her innocence? That this taillight, yeah, the time says GMT plus 1 time. Let me take a look. Let me take a look at that. GMT plus 1 time is what? It says GMT. What does it say? GMT plus 1. At, was it 11? Kelly just wrote it down. 11:36 p.m. is what time in New York? Let's say New York. So when it's 11:36 p.m. in GMT plus 1 time zone, it is 5:36 p.m. So this would be 5:36 p.m. on January 29, 2022. So that's the true time. So AI says this right here. Yeah, Greenwich time. Right, exactly, Deb. So that's right. That's what I got from Google. When it is 11:36 p.m. in the GMT plus 1 time zone, it is 5:36 p.m. At the same time in New York, Massachusetts, same time zone, no difference. Yeah. So that makes, I guess that makes more sense now, I suppose. So Greenwich is ahead of us. Okay. All right, that makes more sense. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. Thank you, darling. Mr. Mark's on the study. Good to see you. So yeah. And again, going back to Dr. Marie Russell. Pattern wounds. So how did you get, again, this footage is damning, because to every person of Free Karen Read that's ever said Karen's innocent, if you're someone that's anti-Karen Read and your central argument is Karen killed John, it's not enough to just say Karen backed up her vehicle and killed him, because it all comes down to the arm. And here's the thing. The arm is all you need to make your argument. And regardless of Google searches, Apple health data, taillight, whatever, physics, whatever, the fact is, and I had this conversation about a day or two ago, because I was in I had a private conversation. I was in a little fired up after reading some articles, and I was a little fired up about anti-Karen Read. I don't know, they're really not getting under my skin. I'm just tired of their argument, because their argument is ridiculous. And I said, look, all I need to do to make an argument about Karen Read's innocence is to point out John O'Keefe's arm. That's all I need. I go, we can sit here and go over every single, there's hundreds of things that prove Karen Read's innocence, right? We can go over this, that, right? Whatever we want to do, right? Write hundreds of facts down, point out every single point known to man, point out where people were at what time, where were they, this, right? You can go over all that detail. And there's no question that all those details and all those posts and everything that we're saying is 100% correct. There's no question. But I'll tell you, in one move, you just look at John O'Keefe's arm, and that's why they didn't like Dr. Marie Russell, right? They didn't like her. They wanted to shut her down, right? Hank Brennan was beefing with her in the courtroom during trial too, right? Getting into it with her. They didn't want her to even be a witness in the second trial. They were afraid of her because they knew, regardless of any possible argument that could be made, that the arm wounds, the wounds on John O'Keefe's arms were unequivocally and undisputedly not caused by taillight. I don't even need to actually look at the taillight of Karen. I don't even need to actually see footage of Karen's taillight, because when I look at that guy's arm, John O'Keefe, God rest his soul, it's clear as day that it's an animal attack. There are teeth marks. There are claw marks. There are pattern wounds. Dr. Marie Ross, that's why they were so afraid of her. Hank Brennan was more afraid of her, I felt, than any other witness, other than maybe Arca or Dr. La Posada. But he was scared because like I said, I could sit there and just take a picture and go, hey, jury, not that you can talk directly to the jury, but for the jury to see this, look at the arm. Let me ask you this question. Looking at those wounds, observing this, observing that, what do you think's more likely? Do you think that this was caused by an animal attack, or do you think this was caused by maybe shattered glass, shattered tail light, knives, or whatever? What do you think's more likely? It's obviously going to be an animal. And to me, we have more than enough information to beat our arguments to death about why Karen Read is innocent. But just simply going off the arm wound of John O'Keefe alone is clear as day evidence that this was not caused, before we even get into the physics, like Arca did so incredibly. We can look at the arm and say, look, before we even break down that, hey, there's footage that the taillight's not even shattered, or actually get into what would have happened if a vehicle went in reverse and the taillight shattered. And by the way, in Arca's experiment, the taillight didn't even penetrate the sleeve, just to make that notable. Then there's really no argument. Karen Read should have never gone through this. And it is absolutely insane that Karen Read had to go through all these trials. And it's amazing to me people are actually suing her over all of this. This woman has been through way too much. And it has been absolutely unfair to her, what she's gone through. It's certainly ridiculous. Because this is an obvious case that Karen Read, it's a whodunit, but it's not Karen Read. It's not Karen Read. And I'll tell you right now, bet big money that John O'Keefe went in the house, because again, there's data that shows he went right towards the house, went up 3 flights of stairs, and that's where we get back to Michael Proctor. Michael Proctor is not a sympathetic character at all. He is the least sympathetic character. Nobody likes him. Look what he's had to say. Look at his tweets. He even alluded to wanting to frame somebody one time, I think, which is absolute madness, which is absolutely beyond insane. And it shows you, given the right set of circumstances, well, would you frame somebody? If you had to frame somebody, would you do it? I have a blue Solo cup today, not a red Solo cup. Don't judge me. Don't you guys judge. Today's seltzer water is kiwi lemonade. Kiwi lemonade today. And to you as well. Thank you. We're going to get into the depositions here, because this Judge Gildea, I am despising more and more every time he appears in court, quite honestly. But Michael Proctor here with this whole deposition stuff, and Judge Gildea seemed like he was all about like making sure these people were deposed, making sure things moved along. But it just seems that, like, I thought he was an all right judge the first couple weeks, that this was going on. And yes, Kelly, just like Kelly said, there's calls now online for him to recuse himself. I thought he was all right. Like, when this whole thing started off, I'm like, well, this judge is moving things along. He's getting things going. He seems to be very much, and I think I said it on a show a couple weeks ago, he seems to be moving things along in a way that I feel, like I said, I'm not looking for him to favor Karen, but I am looking for him to be neutral. However, in the past week and a half, 2 weeks, it's as if this guy had a Brinks truck drive by his house and drop off about 10 bags of cash. Okay. And I'm not saying that actually happened, just to be clear. I'm not conspiracy theorizing that a Brinks truck actually showed up to drop off cash for him. But it just seems to me that it's my way of like comically trying to explain why this judge has had such a big shift in everything that's going on. And that's a concern for me, because I don't want to see this judge, in my opinion, be unfavorable to Karen. I'm not asking him to be favorable to Karen. but I am asking him to be neutral, right? And I'm starting to get this drift now that other factors are causing a lot of things and a lot of alarms to go off in my head. And obviously the alarms of everybody listening and on Twitter that this judge is kind of going in a new direction recently. And this is really really goes back to the Turtle tweet, right? Turtleboy's tweet that goes on. Yeah, seriously, right? Is that confirmed? Is that confirmed? But now all of a sudden his tune changed when the Massachusetts State Police Canton case was filed and her PN Today show. Yeah, when she went on the Today show. Yeah, definitely. It definitely seems like there's a shift. But right, and again, social media should have nothing to do with a case. And now all of a sudden it's gotten into that. So we have Michael Proctor's deposition here. And again, another deposition that is, I'm just going to say this. And it was said by Microdots. If anybody remembers what happened I always forget the guy's name. The guy from, he got sued by the Sandy Hook victims. He was Alex Jones. Alex Jones was sued for defamation. We'll get into that, Scorpio. Thank you for reminding me. Keep Scorpio. If I forget, remind me again, because I know I'm kind of going in a lot of directions right now. Thank you, because I know it's the second time you asked. Thank you. But ask again if I forget. If 5 minutes goes by, Scorpio, and I don't get to it, make sure I do. We got a lot to talk about. That's why. Alex Jones. So Alex Jones was sued. He was the guy from whatever that network was. And he would talk about how he thought the Newtown Sandy Hook massacre was basically a hoax. And that was a tragic shooting in 2012, I believe. I think it was December 2012, if I'm not mistaken. And when the depositions happened, thank you, Scorpio. When all the depositions happened, all the people showed up to be deposed, like the family members that said, hey, Alex Jones is wrong. Our children were legitimately killed in a legitimate shooting. And they actually showed up. Microdots made that point. What's very troublesome about the people that are on the anti-Karen Reid side, they're on the McAlberts, the police departments, the O'Keefe side, whatever. I'm not saying the O'Keefes, but there's people that are not showing up right now. And there's become a lot of concern about what's going on, where Michael Proctor shows up. He has a panic attack. There's another individual that has gone in the Army. And now all of a sudden, yesterday, we're hearing that he can't be deposed because the Army won't release him, because now he's in the Army's jurisdiction, and he can't be released. Someone actually suggested that the military has free time on Sunday where that could take place. So this is becoming all of a sudden now, some of these depositions aren't taking place. Then you have others that have deposition dates and are like, well, I can maybe do these 1 or 2 dates, but I can't do it these other dates. So it's becoming a very big conflicting thing, because you'd have to imagine that this Karen Reid, let's be clear, Karen Reid has shown up for her deposition. And I believe at least 1 or 2 from the McAlbert side have shown up, is what I'm to understand, have at least shown up. But then you have Michael Proctor and a few others that haven't been deposed yet. And this is going on and on, here's my argument. If Karen Reid is guilty, and she's guilty, and there's no question she's guilty, and there's no question that whatever you're saying is correct. Yes, that's exactly right. Tully had to go to his. Higgins got his done. And then, yes, Allie was the one I had heard, and Higgins I had heard. Tully, I know, had to do it, but I hadn't caught up yet. Thank you, Kelly, for keeping me posted. So Allie, Tully, and Higgins. So one McAlbert and 2 members of the police department there. But that's a low number right now. Right? So more people should, because again, my argument is if you're involved in a civil case with Karen, whether she's after you, you're after her, whatever, no matter what the scenarios are, no matter what reality, in any situation, you'd want to show up as soon as possible to be deposed, right? To get your voice out there. Because Karen Reid has shown up for everything, right? Karen Reed, the only time Karen Reed never showed up was one day when she got sick during the second trial, where they canceled the trial because she was sick that day. That's the only thing. Mullen Law's in the house. As stated earlier, Mullen Law, me, and Lauren Katie, and a few others will be working on a KY Maverick fundraiser projected for next Sunday on Common Sense Investigators channel. So yes, I'm shocked that because if Karen Reed's so guilty, that all of them aren't lining up and doing whatever they need to be there to get things, on the record, be deposed, say what they got to say, answer those questions, whatever, just do it. To me, it just, when I look at this, I'm just like, well, again, and I always say this to anti-Karen Reed people. I don't actually say it to them, but my attitude is towards them. Don't tell me we're conspiracy theorists. Don't tell me we're wrong when information continues to show up time and time again that makes it look like these people are what everyone in Free Karen Reed says they are. Right? Fair enough. You know what I'm saying? Wouldn't that be a fair argument? And like I said, the way I think is I'm willing to sit down with anybody and have a constructive conversation. It doesn't matter how different of our opinions are. It doesn't matter how obvious it is that I am right. I'm not here to be right. I'm here to look at something and analyze it and come out with a conclusion. I want to make that clear. When I argue for Karen Reed or Turtleboy, whoever, or Kelsey, I'm not doing this to be right. I'm not doing this to say, well, I looked at this and hell, I told you so. And sometimes I do. Sometimes I do feel that way. But overall, in my heart of hearts and mind of mind, I'm looking to conclusively analyze something and draw a conclusion. I said this about the Kelsey Fitzsimmons case. About midway through her story, I spent about 5 hours on a Saturday doing further research on her story because I was analyzing it. And I was still analyzing it like this, not like pro-Kelsey or anti-whatever. It was analysis, going through it, trying to say, hey, could I be wrong? Or could I be right? Right? And after I got through it, more confident in her story. And that's been the same thing with Karen Reed. The more I analyze it, the more confident I become. I'm more confident in her innocence today than I was 2 or 3 years. Was it 2023 I began following this case? April or May, somewhere around there. More confident today than ever before. Because when you look at this stuff more and more, it's only clear in her innocence. And like I said, I don't come in this just to say, hey, I'm going to pick a side. Oh, there's more people on Team Karen Reed. Let me do it. Because I'm going to believe what I'm going to believe, right? I'm going to believe in Karen Reed is innocent or guilty by my own choice, and nobody is going to make me make a decision. I'm going to decide what I decide. It doesn't matter if more people are here or less people are here. I'm going to look at it, come to a conclusion, and that's it. And that's how I became Karen Reed, Team Karen Reed, because I looked at it, looked at the information, saw what I saw, and to this day, I'm not inspired with confidence from the opposition of Karen Reed that they are what she says Karen Reed is. Because now they're not showing up for depositions, or they're getting delayed, or they're giving limited dates, or somebody's joined the army, or somebody's had a panic attack. Because if you're right about it, then you'd be showing up quick. I mean, you'd probably be like, hell, I can do it like tomorrow or the day after. I'll come right down. I want to get this deposition done. I'm tired of this lie of Karen Reed being innocent. I'm ready for my deposition. I'm ready to burn this to the ground. You think these people would be foaming at the mouth to do these depositions? I'm sure the Newtown Sandy Hook families were. I'm sure they were like, I can't wait to get in court because we know our kids were legitimately shot. We don't believe in and this is not for or against Alex Jones or whatever the politics. I don't care about that. But the family got there because at the end of the day, they knew their kids were shot. And they didn't like the fact that someone was saying that they were not. And they got out there and they made a point, and the guy got sued. And you think that if Karen Reed's whatever they say she is, Michael Proctor would be hell. I was the lead investigator. I stand by my crime scene investigation, and I know that this woman's guilty, but yet the guy's having a panic attack? What is he having a panic attack for? Why is he having a panic attack? And why all of a sudden now he's having a panic attack and the story leaks that he has a panic attack? All of a sudden the judge is coming down on the whole thing, coming down on social media. And there's all this chaos now Deposition Chaos, which is the name of today's show. Judge Gildea in Deposition Chaos today on Mazda Media. All of a sudden there's all this chaos. There's all this craziness. There's all this insanity all of a sudden. Why is this, pardon my French, why is this shit never normal? Why is anything about this case, pardon my French, I'm starting to get fired up. Why is nothing about this ever normal? Why does none of this ever just go to plan? Why isn't there just the defense, the Commonwealth gives the defense everything they need on time for the first trial. There's one trial, it's innocent or not, and that's it. Instead, it's always this charade. It's always this show. It's always, there's going to be a second trial now. And there's all this hoopla and all this craziness and all this nonsense all the time. And then after the trial's over, all of a sudden, there's a civil suit and you got people that can't even show up for depositions. It's insane on every single level, even going back to the investigation. Oh, magical taillight is showing up out of nowhere. Oh, we're arresting Karen Reed now because she did it. Oh, yeah, she drove her vehicle. None of this is normal. Pardon my French, but this is fucking insane. And it never seems to end. And you have judges like Judge Beverly Cannoni. And even in Kelsey's case, Judge Kathleen McCarthy-Naiman. Or now Judge Gildea. And things are just happening. It's like, what are they doing? You got Melanie Little, who's an attorney, sitting there and saying, what the hell's going on? You have other people that are attorneys. What's going on? Why is this happening? What's the deal? And I'm just sick and tired of it. I'm going to be clear. I'm here to fight for Karen Reed as long as I must. And I know there's people on the same side of us that don't believe that because they know I want to be impartial between Aiden and Karen. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm here for justice. And I'm here for Karen to win against her opposition. And I'm here for Aiden to win against his opposition. And they seem to have the same opposition. And that's the way I look at it. It's the way I'm always going to look at it. I'm not going to be swayed. So this is a fight for justice. End of the day, a fight for justice. But on and on, this story goes. And it's just, you sit there, it's like, this can't be normal. What's going on? Now all of a sudden, tweets. Oh, there's a leak. Well, how did the leak happen? Who leaked it? How did it get leaked? What happened? Right? And this is just nuts. It's absolutely nuts. But I'm tired of these things going on longer than they must because of various inconsistencies. Various craziness, various controversies, just things like that. Everyone just needs to show up for the courtroom. If you're scheduled to be deposed, then just show up. Just go. Go to your deposition. Get it done. That's what I would recommend to everybody involved in it. Just go. Just go to your deposition. Do it. Do your deposition and you're done. And it's just all this saga stuff now. Get this photo of Michael Proctor here, scared out of his mind, and he's just, look at him, he has a cloudy day. Instead of sunshine on a cloudy day, he has clouds on a sunny day, I guess. This guy's just, look at him. Look how depressed and distraught this guy looks. Why would an investigator, first of all, why would an investigator have any vested interest in the outcome of a trial or a civil case or anything? Why so bothered? Why so triggered? Exactly. What's he afraid of? Right? All you have to do is go in there and just report what you did. You did, because if you did everything according to the book, then you should have nothing to worry about. Jesus. And again, Aiden says, here's a picture of Michael Proctor sitting outside his deposition on June 25th, pretending to have a panic attack so he could avoid going back in. He is now alleging that this information came from Karen Reed, but as you can see from this still photograph, it obviously came from another source who witnessed this public display of shame. Aiden posted this on yesterday evening. He tweets here. This was this afternoon. He tweets here, he goes, normally I don't reveal sources, but I was sent this photograph by someone working with the House defendants who they think is on their side, but no longer supports them. There is a leak on the O'Keefe McAlbert side. Will they figure out who it is? Time will tell. Now, sometimes, love Aiden. But I know Aiden likes to play head games with people. He did this famously. I'm not saying this is what he's doing, but I'm saying it might be possible. Two things. Either this is exactly as Aiden says it, or he's playing head games. And the head game would be what he did that time. Remember that time that he said he was going to go to court? It was when the Lindsay Gattani thing was going on, and the McAlberts were bringing him in, so he couldn't be in court. Remember he went on his show the night before and said, I'm going to be there tomorrow. And I sat there, I'm like, no, he's not. No, he's not. He's not going there. He's saying he's going to be there, but he's not going to be there. The next day comes around. They come Lindsay in tow, and Aiden's not there. And I was like, I'll never forget that day, but that's fine. So sometimes when Aiden posts this, I'm like, is this true? Or is it kind of like a tactical head game that Aiden's playing here? So I wonder. I'm curious to see Aiden, what Aiden will come from this with Aiden. Will this be just as he says? Is there legitimately a leak, or could it be that Aiden's playing a little bit of a head game? However, he did get that information provided to him, right? So we don't know who provided that firsthand, but it should be interesting. But if Aiden wanted to play a little bit of, all the power to him. You know what I'm saying? But that's interesting. So we'll see. So again, he says, normally I don't reveal sources, but I was sent this photo by someone working with the House defendants who they think is on their side, but no longer supports them. There is a leak on the O'Keefe McAlbert side. Will they figure out who it is? Time will tell. And then he says here, maybe they're a double agent. Time for another lecture about the solemnity of court. We'll see what ends up happening there. Karen Reid's attorneys do not own the building the deposition took place in. Anything else there? That's funny. I don't know. That's interesting. That should be interesting. But that's interesting news there from Aiden, nonetheless, about where that's going to go. If there's a double agent, all the power to him. I heard a rumor this week that Peg O'Keefe shoot out Kate Peter. You hear a lot of things. You don't know if it's true or not, but I heard a rumor about that. Don't quote me on that because it's unconfirmed. I just happened to see a tweet about that. Take it for what it's worth. But I don't know if something happened there. But this is going to get really interesting. But like I said, if this is, again, this is either legitimate or Aiden might be playing, like I said, a mind game. Either way, it's intriguing. But again, that's going to be really intense if there is a person leaking there about this photo. I sent this photo by someone working with the House defendants who they think is on their side but no longer supports them. They'd have no way of knowing. There is a leak. Will they figure out who it is? Time will tell. That's very interesting. When you hear the same rumor from three people, it's confirmed. Fair enough. Someone goes, no, I don't think Aiden has got time to play head games. Could be Krusty again. I don't know. I mean, there's no chance. There's no chance it's KP. There's no chance KP is going to be like, there's no chance KP would have let's just say, for example, argument's sake, KP had a falling out with the McAlberts and the O'Keefes, and that whole relationship or alliance just ended. There's no way she's going to start going to Aiden, and working with him, given their history of not getting along. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, absolutely. So, which perspective? You said you don't know Aiden very well then? LOL, I can totally see him doing this. Doing which part? But I mean, like I said, if this is either, I look at it one of two ways. Like analytically, this is legit or it's a head game, one or the other. But this is going to be, I can tell you, if that's legitimate, who could it be? But if it was somebody, who was there that day, and those are your suspects. Those are your suspects right there. Who could it possibly be? So I'm interested. I'm definitely interested in seeing what happened here. But, with anything, if there is a leak, if there is somebody that's on the other side, that person needs to keep their, it's like being it's Donnie Brasco time. You got to be Donnie Brasco. You got to be Goodfellas. You got to be like that. What's the guy's name in Goodfellas that Ray Liotta plays there? You got to be like that. You can't, that leak cannot be known. They cannot be found out. And now if this is coming out, there's going to be a lot more, on that other side, there's going to be a tightening of the circle there too. So it should be interesting. Yes. Yeah, exactly. Like that's always in play because Aiden could be strategic, as well. So we never know. We'll see. As always, I theorize, but then I wait. Like I usually have an initial theory, then I wait for things to play out, to see what ends up happening. But again, Henry Hill, Henry Hill, Donnie Brasco. That person's going to be Henry Hill, Donnie Brasco. No one must know you're undercover or a double agent. You know what I mean? But if it ends up like you're Johnny Utah in Point Break, or you're a Brian O'Connor in the Fast and the Furious, and your cover gets blown, can't have that happen. But yeah, right, exactly. Of course, like I said, rumors can be wrong, but you can have theories. You can have theories about X rumors are often so wrong. Just saying all the rumors about depots not being completed for like Higgins were all wrong. I heard the truth from Seligson at court yesterday. Okay, nice. Yep, absolutely. I wouldn't even know who it would be. Michael reported he did an interview with Seligson yesterday. I thought you were going to drop names. I do think you could be right though. I wouldn't even be able to begin because number one, the first thing about that would be is if it's a person that's a double agent on the other side, it would be somebody that's not from our camp originally, right? It would have to be someone it would have to be somebody that's always been on that side. It would have to be somebody that I'm guessing had a falling out. Someone suggesting Carl Dougal. It would have to be somebody on that other side that had a falling out or a change of reality or something. And that can be the case. That's happened. There has been, throughout all of this, there have been side flips. We've had, Lindsay on our side, Lindsay on the other side, Lindsay back on our side. We've had Grant on the other side, now Grant on our side. We've had like people switching teams as well. So it could be, I'm guessing, whoever this person is. Again, if this is not a head game story or a head game strategy by Aiden, but it is as he's posting as legitimately as he states, this could be a situation in which that person would have to be somebody that was always on that side. Somebody that could be inner circle or maybe outer circle where they're kind of someone that's a supporter, but whatever. That would be interesting, but I don't want to let my imagination run too wild. I'm just trying to think of like what would be plausible. And my mind says if this is the story is 100% legitimate, not a head game, then I would probably suggest it's someone that's been on the other side the entire time, never has flipped. Is not somebody maybe it's someone that's being tactical or strategical. They were on that other side. They had a falling out. They didn't let them know they had a falling out. And then maybe they're now just not letting them know they've had a falling out or they've had a change of heart. They're just using they're playing a shadow game. They're just pretending they're still on their side, but they're not. But then they're dropping off details over to, say, Aiden, for example, with inside information, which would be very unique. I don't know. But yeah, let the theories run wild. But again, it could, some names are being thrown out in the chat. It could be somebody we all know, right? It could be whomever, a name it's more familiar. But then it could be somebody that maybe is a lesser known, maybe a face you've seen a few times, but you don't know their name. It could be somebody that's more of like a lesser known. It could be a more notable name, more recognizable face on their side, or it could be a less notable, less recognizable face. For all we know, I don't know. It would be interesting. Hey, look, I've been talking about the feds behind the scenes a lot lately, if they're ever going to step in on all this. And I'm not saying that this is in any way related to this, and I'm not in any way suggesting that. It's just an idea I have kind of branching off into. But, I mean, could you imagine, like, if a year from now we find out the feds have been working behind the scenes for, like, a year or two, and having, like, close communication with people we listen to? I don't know. I'm not suggesting that's true. But I'm just theorizing, like, can you imagine if, like, the feds have been kind of behind the scenes orchestrating stuff? I don't know. I'm not saying that's in any way related to this conversation. I want to be very clear about that. But it was just a thought I had the other day, unrelated to any news that's broke. Basically, that kind of was inspired by the thought, where are the feds in all this? Where have the feds been? Are the feds here? Are the feds going to step in? When are the feds going to do something, right? And I just don't know. But again, I mean, the feds could be in the shadows of all this and could have been for years. Or maybe they're not there at all. Maybe they gave up on the story and they don't care. I don't know. But it's interesting out there to see what's going on, for sure. So I don't know. But that's an interesting story. An interesting story to say the least, in terms of what's going on out there. But let's move on now to a few tweets from Kelly Steffi. Yeah, I had my little rant. I just want to see this deposition. I just want to see things move forward. I don't want to hear about, like, every 10 seconds, this person's not showing up, this person's not showing up. It's like, let's just get this thing moving on here. Let's just move it ahead, show up, get it done, all that stuff. Right. We'd have to think who would be at the deposition with Proctor. Right, exactly. 100%. All right, moving along here. Let's take a look at I want to go over some of Kelly's tweets from yesterday. And I'm just going to grab them at random. Let's see. 1 second. When I zoom in so much, I have to zoom out to get more of a look at my page here. Let's see. Okay, we'll start off with what Gildea denied here. Every time I read Gildea's name, I want to say Gildea so bad. Here we go. All right, there we go. Bang, bang, boom. Let's get some water. All right, from Kelly, who's in the chat. Give Kelly a follow on Twitter if you don't follow her already. She does great summaries here. She gathers the details, gets them together, and gets this information out for us, which is a great recap. It's good to read through some stuff. So we'll start at the bottom. And let's open this tab. And share this tab instead. All right. So this is denied here. So let's see what she posted. Emergency motion for reconsideration of order delaying deposition of Michael Proctor. Defendant Karen Reed respectfully requests that the court reconsider its June 29th order staying further discovery of Michael Proctor. The court stated on the record that it had stayed the second day of Proctor's deposition because an attorney with an appearance in this case had violated either the letter or spirit of the rule. That statement is incorrect. First, the ex post that the court cited as the only evidence that its impoundment order had been violated was actually posted before Proctor's relevant June 8, 2026 filing. Second, the information that the court claimed had been disclosed by an attorney was already public as of June 6th, 2026 at the latest. All right. And then here we see, 1 second. July 10th, I have been presented with the motion for reconsideration of my order precluding further attempts to take discovery from a non-party pending further orders of the court, an opposition, and a reply. Ms. Reed's attorneys are reminded of the provisions of Superior Court Rule 9A-A3 that a reply memorandum is to be limited to matters raised in the opposition which were not and could not have been anticipated and addressed in the moving party's initial memorandum. The motion misstates what I said. What I said was orders of the court have been violated either directly or at the very least in spirit. I did not say what is stated in the motion, that an attorney with an appearance in this case had violated the letter or the spirit of the rule. I also did not state on the record that I had stayed the second day of Proctor's deposition, but rather stated that because of the disclosure of sensitive private information, I temporarily stayed further discovery of the non-party. I acknowledge this information in the motion as to the time of June 8th, 2026 post on X. However, such information does not allay the concerns that gave rise to the order essentially given the content of a June 25th, 2026 post on X. The motion for reconsideration is denied. All right. Scott McGinnis, good to see you, says, Gildea has tripled down on the ex-post drama. That's great, Gildea. Good judging there. Geez, exactly. This is just, again, to call the attorneys in like that and have a meeting of the attorneys, you know, who did it? Who leaked? Just unbelievable. The things that happen in this case are just unbelievable. All right, let's get this up right here. Here we go. All right, so this is a summary by Kelly. Breaking, Judge Gildea denies Karen Reed's emergency motion to reconsider the delay of Michael Proctor's deposition, docket 156. Judge Mark Gildea has denied Karen Reed's emergency motion asking the court to reconsider its order delaying any further deposition of former, right? Again, this is what I don't like. Delaying any further deposition of former Massachusetts State Police Trooper Michael Proctor. In the motion, Reed's attorneys argued the court incorrectly stated that an attorney in the case had violated either the letter or spirit of the impoundment order. The ex post cited by the court as evidence was allegedly published before Proctor's June 8th filing. The information the court believed had been improperly disclosed was already publicly available by June 6, 2026, meaning it could not have violated the court's order. Judge Gildea rejected those arguments. In the handwritten order, he clarified he did not say an attorney violated the letter or spirit of the rule as the motion claimed. Instead, he said orders of the court have been violated either directly or at the very least in spirit. He acknowledged that some information discussed in the motion existed in the June 8th ex post, but concluded that did not eliminate the concerns that led him to stay Proctor's deposition. He also pointed out specifically to the context of a June 25th ex post as supporting his decision to temporarily halt further discovery. Result, the emergency motion for reconsideration is denied and stay on further discovery of Michael Proctor remains in effect unless the court otherwise orders otherwise. Jeez. So on and on it goes in that direction. Let's find another post to go through here. What else do we have? Okay, here we go. Aiden's reaction here. All right, let's take a look at this. Hey, I wonder. I wonder. Could be good to see you. I wonder. I really, really wonder. It's just again, I just don't know whether or not they're on the take or not. I often wonder, do they have allegiances, alliances? What is why the sudden change? You know what I mean? It's just the stuff that makes you go, All right, let's share this page. Again, I mean, if you let me put it this way, let me ask this question. Put the number, let's instead of 1 or 2, let's just use the number 8 for some reason. I'm thinking the number 8. If you had a high, let me put it this way. If you thought favorably of Judge Gildea initially, but have now completely changed your opinion of him to have a negative opinion. Put the number 8 in the chat. You thought highly of him initially, but now you think negatively of him now. Put an 8 in the chat. And if you don't feel that way, just put the number 7. So there we go. We have a lot of people that thought highly initially, especially Tiff. Tiff has so many 8s. Scott, like, so there you go. You have a lot of people that thought highly initially. Strange Credulity is here, also with an 8. So many 8s. So many 8s. Look at that. Just look at that. So many 8s. Look at that. Just look at the whole chat. Someone said 7.5. Rami. Look at that. A lot of 8s there. Look at this thing. Someone said they had a 7 because they felt that he's from the same swamp. So initially they were already skeptical to begin with. Yeah, I was pretty high on him, like, because I thought, like, you know, he was a pretty fair judge. Now I'm starting to get to the point where it's like, what the hell's going on? You know, like what's happening? You know, what's this all about now? You know what I mean? Rami is a 7.5, where she was kind of like, you know, on the fence, but whatever. But again, if you're a 7, you generally believe that you were kind of skeptical from the beginning. You know, you had a kind of an aware eye. But I think 8 is a fair answer. That's how I felt as well. I felt at first I was like, oh, I feel good about this judge. I have no issues here at all. I felt he was moving things forward well. I thought he was keeping things going. I didn't see anything that really had me saying I can't trust this guy. I kind of liked the way he was handling, you know, quite honestly. And then you have Bowen Law, an attorney here. He definitely changed. I think he has a new bestie, Judge Bev. That's wild, if so. Yeah, exactly. It's like there's sometimes sometimes it's like it's okay for a moment or two, then it gets back to it again. And it's like, oh boy, what's going on now? What's the plan? If he doesn't reprimand Proctor's attorney for the wrong leak of info, then you know. Yeah, I guess so. You know, it's just wild. It's crazy stuff. All right, let's move this forward here. I had a 200 zoom. Yep. Oh, what happened? Let's go back. Where is that information? Here it is. Okay. All right, there we go. This is where Aiden kind of rebuttals here to what's happening. So Aiden, Nikki posted this on Twitter. She says, say goodbye to Gildea being your judge, Dr. Turtleboy. It's crazy that Gildea can punish Karen Reed for Turtleboy's reporting insanity. This just got a lot worse. She tagged a few people here. Marbury versus Matt. I haven't heard from Marbury in a while. Brother Counts and Defense Tower is good people. Okay, so this was basically the tweet. Let me enhance this. Right here. Okay, there we go. All right, let's zoom this in a little bit more too. See how this guy looks for you guys. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more for you guys. Okay, that should be better. Okay, that looks good. All right, good. Good. The judges, I know, if the judges are golf buddies thing is true. That's crazy. That would be insane. That would be a nightmare. If Judge Gildea recuses himself, then Judge Beverly Canoni takes over. That's like Mr. Feeney being not that Mr. Feeney was a bad guy on Boy Meets World, but that's like when they graduated middle school and went to high school, and then Mr. Feeney was the principal. It was like, uh-oh. It's like, we can't get away from this guy. Then they go to college, and I think Mr. Feeney is the dean. I think that's what happened, right? Is that how it went on Boy Meets World? He was their teacher in middle school. He was their principal in high school. And then he was the dean in college. I think that's how it went. They couldn't shake the guy as much as they love Feeney. And I think Feeney even took care of the wedding as well. They couldn't get away from Feeney. Oh, man, that's funny. I heard that Topanga, she's doing a movie or a series with the kids from The Sandlot. The Sandlot kids are coming back. It's something called Dad Something. It's about like a bunch of guys that are dads, and I guess their kids play baseball. And I think Topanga's playing one of the. I just heard about this last night. It seems like it's a B movie, but whatever. We'll get back to the story here. All right, so we got. We got. Where are we? What's going on? So this is the tweet here. Breaking news, Michael Proctor claimed to have a panic attack today and left his deposition. I personally verified that he was seen outside being consoled by his lawyers who were asking him if he could continue. No word yet if he did. So that's basically the tweet that set this whole thing off. There were some initial rumors, I think, earlier that this information was leaked by Aiden as bait. I don't know. Then someone said post the pic, and I think that might be the pic he just posted now. But I don't know. In point of fact, Mr. Proctor did continue his deposition, and the deposition was suspended shortly after 5 p.m. Assuming I can't even say that word. Assuming Arguendo that the X account did not default to 1:30 p.m. Yeah, but anyways, that tweet, that's the tweet that they started to come after. Then there was questions about the tweet itself, for example. Well, what time was the tweet really made? They had listed a certain time. And then, one second. What was the other tweet? One second. Wasn't there another tweet? At like 22 past the hour that they had mentioned. But then they had cited something that was 3 hours earlier or 3 hours later. I'm forgetting it now. But there was another, I think there was another tweet that came out and caused all kinds of controversy. But yeah, there's been a lot of stuff. I don't know all the facts on this, just to be clear. But this was just wild that, you know, the judge lost his mind over this, you know, like he did. Yes. That's the one I'm thinking of. The mental hospital one. That's the one I'm thinking of. Yep, that's the one. Hey, Common Sense Investigators in the house. We're working on a KY Maverick fundraiser with Lori Mullen. Looking like potentially the 19th for that. Common Sense Investigators projected to host that. Yeah, the mental hospital one. That was the one. Yeah, it was the mental. That's right. It was the mental hospital one that came out. And then that was the story. Right. That was another story. That was the other tweet that came out. Then there was some misreporting on, maybe I'm confusing it two stories. I don't know. There's so many tweets come out. So much information comes out. Sometimes my head gets a little bit like, whoa, what's what? We'll get back to Aiden's reaction to Gildea. He said, now the judge is saying I broke the spirit impoundment order with my June 25th tweet about Proctor having a panic attack. I got this information from a source. The same source also saw Brian Higgins and Brian Tully in the same week, in the same building this week being deposed. So that's how we got confirmation of that, was through that source confirming they had been, I sound like the kind human even when I'm fired up and yelling. That's funny. Thank you, Debbie. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. It's just insane that he can't. I mean, here's the thing. This information got out. Somebody talked about it. Aiden's within his right to talk about it. It doesn't matter if it's independent journalism. It doesn't matter if it's say your local news or national news. If information gets out to a journalist, it got out, you know, and that's it. You know, it's out there now. No argument about it. But it just what I'm concerned about is I don't want to suddenly start seeing like everything that happens on social media to now become an excuse for, say, somebody like Michael Proctor now, where they're looking at this and they're saying, well, this happened, or, you know, a Turtleboy tweet came out, or a tweet from somebody else that's pro Karen Reed came out, and now they're now we're gonna, you know, I think he said something along the lines of a deposition may not actually happen. You know, it's. I think he said something along the lines of that. We're not going to have potentially not going to have deposition. It's like, so that's all it takes is for one tweet to come out, somebody to tell somebody something, and that to be tweeted, and now all of a sudden it's That's it. Amazing. There were people theorizing they thought this whole thing was a conspiracy. I think there were people out there that were theorizing that maybe somebody that on the other side leaked information to Aiden, as a way to get this all to happen. That was one theory or rumor I had heard, unconfirmed, but I read that. But even regardless, if that information leaks, it's leaked. And the fact is that information that leaks shouldn't stop a case from moving forward. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what Aiden posts or WBZ posts, I post, you post, nobody posts. Those tweets should not. I mean, if you went there, for example, and took a picture or saw something happen and tweeted about it, that shouldn't stop a case from moving forward or shouldn't cause delays or whatnot. And to me, that's why I started to say, well, why are there delays now? Why are there delays? Why is it all of a sudden cool to just be like, yeah, we're gonna take it easy now and not push this thing forward and kick the can down the road and all that? When is that ever what anybody wants to see? You know what I mean? And it didn't music to my soul. What's going on? Who wants to really see that? And that's, again, just to me, again, only in this case, only in this saga can this kind of stuff happen. The judge sees things online, doesn't like it, shuts down Alan Jackson before Alan Jackson could even speak. We saw that. Alan Jackson walks out like, this is ridiculous. It's just, again, wild stuff, and again, it doesn't matter if it was reported by Aiden, you, myself, WBZ, Channel 7, 10, whatever. Why is outside information or leaks affecting a court case, a civil case? And that's just wild to me. This needs to move on. Let's move forward with this. Get this case going. Move it forward. Get what needs to be done. Let's get this thing going and get it underway. But again, just for this stuff to come out, Alan Jackson to just be like, man, are you serious right now? Like, come on. Give me a break. It's just wild. It is. And this is why people are starting to get so frustrated with this judge now. And then you have this video coming up. Wait, so this judge said, quote from Havana, wait, so this judge said last week it was the tweet of June 8th. This judge finds out he was wrong. Instead of apologizing, now he claims it's the tweet from June 25th. This June 25th tweet was never mentioned in the emergency hearing. So there's a clip here. Let's play this. See what this is.
At 2:52 p.m. Upon learning this information, at 2:52 p.m. Upon learning this information, I ordered that the parties and counsel provide a certification to the court as to all facts known to them as to any dissemination to anyone other than parties and counsel in this matter of any of the contents of the material impounded on June 8th, 2026, and at 2:52 p.m. Upon learning this information, I ordered that the parties and counsel provide a certification to the court as to all facts known to them as to any dissemination to anyone other than parties and counsel in this matter of any of the contents of the material impounded on June 8th, 2026. And
I like this comment here on the right from Krishna. According to Gildea, it doesn't matter. It could have been your tweet from November. It still violated the protective order in spirit, and it was Karen's fault. And no, you cannot correct the record. Oh, man. Yeah. Hero 6 writes, when the House defendants specifically requested this judge in court for their defamation cases, we all should have known something was afoot. It was my first mindset when I heard it. Now I believe the thought holds weight. Can they request a new jurisdiction? Havana replies he's going to be asked to recuse himself. Someone says, Kiki writes, what a clown. He's turning this into a full-blown circus. Then you have this picture. Oh, it's getting reposted. That's funny right there. Go team. That's just wild. It's just to see everybody completely, all of us change our perspectives on this judge. 3 weeks after he ordered this, I find it odd. Karen put emergency motion in yesterday after hearing, and Proctor opposes it, and judge denies it immediately. Yeah, exactly. It's like, what is going on? Because again, I think the issue here, the ultimate argument here is that we no longer see this judge as down the middle and impartial. We now see this judge as favoring one side over the other. And that's where the lack of trust is coming in again. This is a big situation now in terms of trust. This is just wild stuff. It is. Let me see if I can find that video of Alan Jackson. Oh, I found the taillight footage. I do have it on my page. I thought I did. Was this before the 4th of July? I think it was last week. Boozy Beauty wrote, one second. This is a couple days ago. Boozy Beauty is live at 3:30 today. If you guys are interested in tuning into her station channel, watch her channel, follow her on Twitter, follow her on YouTube. Boozy Beauty is fantastic. She goes, what are the odds that Michael Proctor sat for his deposition, started 2.5 hours late, allegedly suffered a panic attack, and ended the deposition earlier? And then the very next day, Judge Gildea says he received an email of an ex post containing Proctor's medical information that had been posted weeks earlier. Proctor deposition June 25th, email to Judge Gildea June 26th. Something stinks here. Let's see what we got. Let's see if I can find that. Should have it. What's this? Oh, yeah.
Lawyers can we fit in one room? We're back in Plymouth Superior to answer 2 questions. First, how many lawyers can we fit in one room? And 2, who is the leaker? Alan Jackson has the Beverly made me take the red eye expression.
Beverly made me take the red eye expression.
Is the leaker. Alan Jackson has the Beverly made me take the red eye expression. We do a 10-minute roll call of all the lawyers. Judge Gildea says out loud, Mr. Jackson gets free publicity out of this. After a beat, Jackson awkward.
What does, if Alan Jackson gets free publicity, here's the thing. Lawyers are always going to promote themselves anyways. How many times do I turn on the TV and hear a law office commercial? We'll help you stand up to the big corporations and the big hospitals. You call us and we'll fight for you. Call the law offices of Morgan & Morgan today. You know, how many times, of course, in free promotion. I mean, let's be honest with you. Alan Jackson's already a superstar. You know, Morgan & Morgan & Morgan. I'm Morgan from Morgan & Morgan. Yeah.
Loud, Mr. Jackson gets free publicity out of this. After a beat, Jackson awkwardly laughs because nobody knows what the hell that means. Free.
Alan Jackson laughs and go fuck yourself. That's what he did. Oh man.
Publicity out of this.
I love the way Alan Jackson just laughs at this stuff.
After a beat,
it makes me love him even more.
Jackson awkwardly laughs.
He just starts smirking.
Because nobody knows what the hell that means. This song relates to Michael Proctor's impounded health information, which apparently was leaked. Yet nobody has seen these leaked documents. The judge says this happened June 8th at 2:52. Trial Channel posted that this tweet from Grant Smith Ellis happened at that time.
Yeah. Michael Proctor submitted 2 exhibits. This is the ex post Judge Gildea referred to in the hearing today, which is Grant Smith Ellis saying Michael Proctor has submitted 2 exhibits, an affidavit from his lawyer, and medical documents in his last-ditch effort to delay being deposed by Karen Reed's legal team.
Which is just posting a public court document and doesn't include any sensitive information. So once again, we have no idea what the hell the judge is talking about. He threatens to delay Michael Proctor's deposition permanently if things keep getting leaked, meaning nobody will have the chance to depose Michael
So let's get this straight. This is a week ago, 2 weeks ago.
permanently if things keep getting leaked.
So if things keep getting leaked, and this was an argument someone had made online. So you're telling me if you're the judge and you say this won't continue if things keep getting leaked, and you're telling if one side has a vested interest in not being deposed, that all they have to do to avoid getting deposed is just ensure leaks come out.
Meaning nobody will have the chance to depose Michael Proctor. He wants all these lawyers to meet and confer on an agreement to not disseminate case info. If they can't come to an agreement, the judge is going to take matters into his own hands. He says that every single hearing, which could include dismissal. Talk about a power trip.
That was one of the most outrageous things, was the dismissal. I'll dismiss this whole case. It's like, so basically if one group of attorneys just wants this case to end, then basically that's the out. Well, okay, let's just leak some information right now and we're off the hook. We're good. Our client's good, or whatever.
Judge is very clear. He hates social.
Which actually, if Karen Reed was guilty, which she's not, but if she was, then that's all Alan Jackson and the team, and Sellinger and all that, selling someone all out, how to have to do is just we'll just leak some more information and we'll get Karen right off the hook, or get this whole thing done.
Media. He hates people covering the case. Well, guess what, Judge? We watched the Commonwealth attempt to frame an innocent person for 3 years, and that all played out in the public eye. So sorry, we don't trust anyone in this state, anyone surrounding this case, to handle things the right way. So that's why we have to kind of supervise your courts, right? Because Massachusetts courts.
I bet you any money, Scott, that's probably what Alan Jackson was going to argue. You're encouraging one side to leak information, one side or the other. Boy, that's wild.
Have become.
I do think he's bluffing, but we'll see.
The laughingstock of the country. The judge flees the bench. The last thing we hear is attorney Alan Jackson saying, hey, do we not get a chance to be heard after that tongue lashing? And the court clerk is like, dude, I'm just the sub here.
It's wild that a judge has so much power that they can walk right out of a courtroom without attorney Jackson being heard at all. And then that's just it. There's nothing you can do. The judge has walked out. What would be the repercussions for an attorney or a defendant or even a plaintiff or a plaintiff's attorneys or prosecution in any case, any trial, whatever you say, civil trial, criminal trial, whatever. What would be the penalty for anybody else walking out of a courtroom like that?
I know nothing. So, yet again, another average Massachusetts court hearing.
Yeah, wow. That's crazy. That's pretty intense right there. Let's see if I can find that footage of Alan Jackson walking out. There it is. I got it. This is it right here. Grant Smith Ellis posted it. Perfect. Here we go. All right, Grant Smith Ellis.
I think
Alan walks out. Just laughing. They're like, can you believe that dude? Can you believe that dude? They're just like, they're just laughing because it's so comical, and it's just another day in a court in Massachusetts. Here we are now in a civil case. Criminal trial's over. Beverly Cannoni's in our rearview mirror. Now we're here, and the same nonsense is going on again. Wild.
Alan or Karen, comments on...
I think now would not be a good time for a comment, so I'm going to reserve all comment. Is that good?
What about the fact that you weren't allowed to make any case in front of the judge? What were you hoping to say?
So I'm going to reserve comment. Nice try, but I don't think we have any choice. Nice to see you guys.
Have a good 4th of July, Alan.
I can finally see what Boston looks like without snow. I didn't know. No idea.
Oh boy. So that was Alan Jackson's reaction to all that. And that's basically what's gone on. It's just been, again, more of this same nonsense where you can't even go in a courtroom and at least be heard. I mean, it's like, you're not always, in fairness, you're not always going to agree with the judge. you're not always going to, like what the judge has to say. And one of the countermeasures to that is the ability to be heard and have an opportunity to say something and speak up and say, well, Your Honor, I contend against this because of this reason, that reason, or whatnot. And when a judge is walking out of a courtroom on you and you can't even be heard, it's problematic, especially when you have a judge threatening to dismiss a case, throw things out, and again, basically saying, if there's any more leaks, then whatever. Well, what if one side has a vested interest in leaks? What if one side has something to gain from this thing being thrown out, right? Well, basically, you're compromising this case because one side could just continue to leak stuff. And if you're going to live up to your word and dismiss the case and people aren't going to be deposed, then what happens? Is there to be another civil suit filed, and there's going to have to be a new judge? It's pretty outrageous, to say the least. Here's another thing that really grinded my gears this week. I don't usually talk about the O'Keeffes much, but I'm going to today. This is about prescription medications. Let's talk about this. Zoom this out a little bit. Okay, that should be good. How about 300? How does that look for you guys? Good, it looks perfect. Let me get a drink of water. Yeah, so basically it's like, hey, if any more leaks happen, this case is dismissed. Okay, great. Well, you basically just gave permission to one side or the other to, hey, Danny, one side or the other to just have this thing thrown right up. Well, we'll leak something and we're done. Okay, this is Defendant Karen Reed's opposition to plaintiff's motion to compel further answers to Plaintiff John O'Keeffe's II's first set of can't read the word. 1 second. Interrogatories. All right, there we go. So zoomed in, I couldn't even read it. Plaintiff John O'Keeffe II. Plaintiff John O'Keeffe's second's motion to compel motion seeks information plaintiff already has, as well as irrelevant and personally sensitive medical information. The motion should be denied. Specifically, plaintiff seeks the identity of Karen Reed's primary care physician for the 2-year period before January 29, 2022, a description of every prescription medication she was taking, had been prescribed, or had access to on January 28 to 29, 2022, including dosages and the condition for which any such medication was prescribed to her, and her financial records that reflect the purchases and transactions she made on January 28th through 28th through the 29th. Reed's medical information is irrelevant to plaintiff's claims or Reed's defenses and is private and protected. These interrogatories amount to an improper fishing expedition. I think you get upset about the fishing expedition, didn't it? Targeting information for some purpose other than litigating the claims in this case. Additionally, Reed has already produced documents sufficient to provide the relevant financial information the motion seeks, including a credit card and bank statements that show her purchases and transactions. Let me read that part again, the last part. She has already produced documents sufficient to provide the relevant financial information the motion seeks, including her credit card and bank statements that show her purchases and transactions on January 28th to 29th. So she did comply with that. That part, I must have missed this when I read this originally. The financial part I did not. I must have missed. Sometimes I have a lot going on. I can't read all this stuff. But yeah, I was okay. So she did provide, again, documents sufficient to provide the relevant information, but they're still asking for more information. I don't personally see why prescription medication matters. To be honest with you, medication is prescribed to people all across this country. People are on various prescriptions for various needs. There's no evidence that a prescription medication has ever been the cause of any kind of, say, a violent outburst, a murder that we're aware of. But yeah, that's just, I don't see the purpose in that. I just did not see the purpose in that request at all. I thought it was pretty much a reach. Yeah, I guess that's a great point. That's a really good argument right there. They want to see what interacts with alcohol. That's a fair argument. That's a fair argument. Would a good counter to that be to say that they never gave her a breathalyzer test? Like, would that be, for example, would that be, I think that'd probably be a good counter to say, well, she was never really given an effective breathalyzer test. She was never given anything. So if there's really no effective breathalyzer test, then we argue that the medications that may interact with the alcohol may not be relevant. That might be a good counter, or something of that variation might be a good idea, because it just, that's interesting. So that makes a good point. They want to see how it interacts with alcohol. Yeah, people are always going to be mad because Aiden has sources. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's just interesting. But I don't like that. I think that's a reach. And again, she drove from, good point here. She was already convicted of operating under the influence. She would stipulate that she was operating under the influence. It's ridiculous, right? Yeah. It's just right. An OUI, what's exactly? Attorney Mullen Law says they really don't need it because the issue of her being intoxicated was already established with the OUI conviction. To share Emily, did I say it wrong? Yeah, that's all right. Sometimes you learn a new word, and that was the new word I learned today. Interrogatories. That sounds right. Yeah. Interrogatories. There we go. Perfect. I learned that's the new word I'm learning today. You learn new words as you go through stuff. That's one thing always gets under me is I value myself in knowing so many words. And then no matter how many times I learn every single word I think I know, there is some other word that comes up and it's like, I'll be reading something like, damn it. Interrogatories. That sounds perfectly off the tongue once I say it that way. Thank you. Exactly. Yeah, so Mullen Law and Emily C. are on the same page here. They agree. Again, the OUI has already happened. What's the point? Exactly. Irrelevant. A car was never hit John, and John was never hit by a car. End of discussion. Yeah, exactly. It's just crazy. Words are hard, not all of them, but some of them. Exactly. Absolutely. I was calling Judge Gildea for like the first week. It's like, let me make sure I'm saying this guy's name right. Love from Tejas. Good to see you. Exactly. Yeah, they are grasping at straws. They absolutely are. And okay. All right, Emily. I'll find it. I didn't see it, but I'll look for it. There you go. There's your cow emoji. Emily is all about the cow story. I'm not about the cow story. I've had to endure the cow story twice. Emily's had a lot of questions about the cow story, so that's been the way it goes there. I want to bring up that. I want to go back to that Sallyport. Yeah, fair argument. I think Gildea is the one not saying his name right. It should be Gildea. That's how I look at it too. All right. Absolutely. I want to find that Sallyport footage. I got it. Perfect. It's right here. Perfect timing. Perfect time. Good. All right, let's get this on the screen here, and let's share this. Yeah, let's share. There it is. So here's the Sallyport footage. Let's get this adjusted here for you guys. This is that Sallyport footage I was looking for earlier. There it is, all lit up. Right there, when the brake goes on, you can see that thing's perfectly lit up. Now, some people were trying to argue online that, well, look, there's some inconsistencies in the taillight here, here, and here, but then when you light it up, bang, it's all lit up right there. Clear as day. Fuzzy Duck Puppet writes, I sometimes wonder if the judge is so tired of this case that he's trying to get himself recused. Oh my goodness. I mean, yeah, it is very busying. It's I mean, I even admit that I'm shocked at the amount of hearings that have happened. Quite honestly, with this, there have been a lot of hearings. So many, in fact, it's like, oh my gosh, how many more hearings are there going to be? You know, it's like every week, it's like, there's a hearing tomorrow at 2, or there's a hearing tomorrow at 3:30. It's like, oh, another one? I tell you, taillight, that would be insane if that happens. Yeah, correct, Proctor's Telltale Heart. That is exactly correct. That shows you that it lights up. And some people will try to be deceptional and just say, hey, look, like, because even I saw this, I was like, whoa, look at the way the taillight looks. But it's just the way it is. And then bang, there it goes. As soon as they tap that brake, there it goes. It's all perfect. You know, we determined that was about 5:30 that night. Right there, and it comes right in. There you have it. And then brake, all lit up. That whole thing would not be able to light up if that was shattered. This video was at the Sally Port. This video at the Sally Port was recorded January 29th in the evening. We've determined that was 5:30-ish p.m. It says 11:30 p.m., but it's really 5:30. Right. That's it. That's what I mean. There is no case. If the taillight's not shattered, there is no case. Thank you, the Goodmans, 4431. That was Mr. Gildea. I had thrown him under the bus like I did to Melanie. Love you, honey. I had to throw him under the bus like I did to Melanie. Yep, throwing him under the bus. That's funny. Yeah, it's just insane. Again, this is the whole case right here. I mean, if you look at John O'Keefe's arm and you say, okay, John O'Keefe's arm, like Aperture. Aperture wants to argue with make the Blue Man Group argument. Well, there is no Blue Man Group argument. Why? Because the taillights are intact. They're intact. There's nothing shattered there. This is not possible to light up if it is intact. I mean, it's the whole case. And not only is it the whole case in criminal, during the criminal proceedings, but now going into the civil case. I mean, as a defense attorney for Karen, all I have to do is walk into court and just say, hey, this is whatever. I think this was just recently released, is what I was thinking. I believe this information had just come out. And this is another problem that I have, Momo Shark, is that this is one of the issues with both trials, was there was a lot of information that Karen Reed's defense team had for the second trial, and they didn't have that information for the first trial, right? There was information they tried to get into, like the big argument before the first trial was they were trying to get information. Yeah, exactly. The FOIAs have been fantastic. And shout out to Emily C. as well, who's done an amazing, she's been FOIAing around and finding out. So Emily's been a great job. I'm not sure if Emily got this or not. She'll let us know, but Emily has acquired a lot of information that's been very pertinent to know. But yeah, this has been one of the issues with the first two trials was Karen Reed's defense team did not have everything they needed both times. This would be information that would have been helpful. Yeah, I know exactly. I just happened to be driving by and said, oh, look, there's a piece of taillight right there. Oh, well, what do you know? Then I noticed another piece of taillight. Then I was all the way into the woods and found all this taillight. No, it doesn't happen that way. It's not like Elliot putting down Reese's Pieces for E.T. and E.T. just following a trail of Reese's Pieces into the home. It's not like that at all. But that's footage that, if the Karen Reed's defense team had access to this information in the trial, they could have just gotten up there and said, this is Karen Reed's Lexus. This is Karen Reed's Lexus at Sallyport. This is the way it looks when it drove in after the alleged incident happened. The taillight is intact. The defense rests. Thank you. It's just, obviously they're not going to rest that quickly, but you look at something like this, and there's no argument to make. If you showed this to anybody, told them the essential facts, this is when Karen allegedly hit Karen. This is when the vehicle was taken to Sallyport. This is the vehicle before it was reviewed. This is the status that it was in. The taillights are intact. Here's video and photographic proof. There's no argument. We have an update from Emily. She says these videos came in the notice of discovery, which means technically Karen's team did have this, which I don't quite understand. That is extremely interesting. Wow. I did not know that. I'm shocked that they wouldn't use this. I'm shocked they wouldn't use this. Wait a second. Wait a second. She says, no, she's correcting. She's correcting. 1 second. Correction from Emily here. Stand by. Let's see what Emily has for she just can't. That's one of the toughest things about following this story is like Emily is someone that's very dedicated to following this stuff, but there's just so much information that sometimes it can be tough to keep track of all the details. That's one of the biggest for any of us. That's always been one of the toughest things. It doesn't matter what side you're on or whatever. It's just there's so much content. This is the Sallyport footage. This is Sallyport. Yeah, main driveway, side exterior, Sallyport, correct. Yep, main driveway, side exterior, correct. Yep. Main driveway, side exterior, 11:36 p.m. Greenwich time, which is actually 5:36. And that's the thing. It's like there's always so much information here that's tough to like always like get everything right, say everything right, know every little detail, not confuse it with something else all the time. You know, this is such a monster case. But yeah, this is, I mean, that's it right there. I mean, that's your whole thing. If you're the defense. And Emily's verifying if they had access to this or not. She's just digging into the record here for us to help out. Thank you, Emily. But yeah, appreciate Emily. And that's what's great. People supporting each other, different channels supporting each other, supporting supporters. Absolutely love it. But yeah, I just don't see where the taillight shattering is here. And all this does is give more, right, Dr. La Posada, call it a day and roll the credits. Exactly. We'll play the end credits music and roll the cast here. It's but that's it. I mean, look, that's Sallyport. That's January 29th. That's 5:30 p.m. As we know, the alleged incident happened many hours before, prior to 227, that's for sure. And, all that does is make you say, and again, this is going back to the point too, that so many people say like, oh, like Aiden influenced all of these people. And I mean, they always say it to make Aiden look like a horrible person. Like Aiden was this leader that was so terrible. It's like, no, a lot of people think for themselves when they're presented with information. Aiden presented us with the information. Aiden popularized the information. People looked at it analytically, and about 95% of those people thought Karen Read was innocent. Emily writes, I'm going to look on the right side. It's a little easier. NOD 56, item 2, Sallyport video is duplicative of NOD 35, item 1. That record was previously produced by the NDAO as part of NOD 35. It actually states they received the video twice. So the defense did have this? Wow. Is it possible the defense had so much information, they send it in a ridiculous format that doesn't work on Mac, so I haven't been able to go through any of the videos? Yeah. Wow. So is it possible the defense maybe had this and then wasn't able to, maybe they had so much information that maybe it got lost. Not lost as in they lost it, but they just kind of maybe lost sight of it. That's interesting. But that's, again, end of the day, it's clear that several hours after the alleged incident, that taillight's in perfect condition. Yeah. It's insane. Yeah. Oh, she has the drive right there. Am I even able to access this? I might have to go off the not sure if I'll be able to actually I can't access that. That's okay. That's all right. Yeah, it tells you everything you need to know right there. So then what we're left. So let's go deeper here. So if we've now established, like Kelly said, this tells us a lot. Now we've established if this taillight's intact, it's unspoiled. Maybe it only has a crack in it. Maybe the crack is just like we said from Karen Read backing into John O'Keefe's vehicle, not his body, his vehicle at One Meadow Lane. Well, then, if that taillight is uncompromised going into the Sallyport, then why is it compromised when it's in the Sallyport? Who would have done that? How would that have happened? Basically, Operation Frame Karen Read was well underway in the Sallyport. That much is for sure. It's obvious. Yeah, that's a good point on that. AI does do a lot of alterations. Exactly. So if I want the raw footage, use this. Yeah. Actually, there's a way around this. 1 second. I just thought of something. I can get that. I might be able to get that link to the live video itself, not to my StreamYard. Let's do this. All right, load up. There we go. There we go. Ah. Let's get this. And then, bingo. Okay, now I got to download this. Download. Okay, scanning. System is scanning for viruses first. All right, now it's downloading. All right, let's see what we got here. All kinds of stuff on this. This should be the MP4 format. Yep, good. All right, there we go. All right, open this up. Wait for it to load up. There we go. Play this. What would I like to play this in? Let's see if I can maybe play this in Google Chrome instead of a video player. Let's see. Look for another app to play this in. Don't like it. You know, maybe I can play this in standby. Add. Yeah, it's just opening up my media player, which I don't think I can share. Let me see if I can. 1 second. Oh, I know what I can do. Can I just upload it through my there's a way to load video into a, if I upload those PDFs, isn't there a way to, there we go, upload video file. There we go. Okay. Here we go. There we go. Okay. Now go to downloads. Now go to Sallyport. Now go here. All right. There we go. Thank God I'm a technical wizard. I figured that out, didn't I? Right, there we go. All right. So this is the footage Emily C has provided here. Emily, this is the footage you wanted me to play, right? Oh, there's a Cash App. Let me throw the Cash App for you. There's my Cash App at the bottom. It's scrolling on the screen for you, Melinda. My Cash App is, was it Mark Mazzamedia? Yeah, Emily has hacked my computer. Exactly. The inverted video. Yeah, I guess that police car was sold at auction. Yeah, the inverted vid. Yeah. Yeah, this is the inverted vid. This doesn't appear to be the one. Let me check that folder again. 1 second. I'll just let that play through for a second. Let me see here. Sallyport, interior. It's the only video I'm seeing. Oh, main driveway. Maybe this is it. Okay, maybe that's it. Download. This might be dangerous. I will download it anyway. Yeah, you're right. Okay, there we go. I was gonna say I didn't know if this footage was connected to let's see if we can get this thing to download here. Yep, I got it now. It's the main driveway one. That's what I read the wrong one. All right, let's see if we can get this to download. I'll let Sallyport play through. Okay, why is this not let's It's not letting me download it because it wants me to go to certain apps, which I don't have. No preview available. Download. You click it. It's scanning for viruses on the computer. And then it says, this file type might be dangerous. This is a file type that might harm your... Thank you for the Cash App, Rami. Appreciate it. I'll read that in a moment. The file type that might harm your computer. Only download this file if you so download anyway. It's not downloading. Prohibiting me from doing that. There we go. Maybe I can do it that way. Okay. I went to the far right of the listing instead and clicked the 3 dots. Let's see if that... No, that's not it. I just don't want to keep hitting download. Then the next thing I know, I downloaded it like 60 times. Why is it not... It's taking its time. See if I can get this to work still. It's not... Open a new tab. Let's give that a try. This might work. No preview available. Calling for a download again. All right, that's not going to work. Trying another way. This might work. We'll see. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's in that .exe file, and it's almost undownloadable right now. It's just loading, but it's not going anywhere at all. It's just spinning. And then when I try to download it, so that interior set, the footage you're seeing right now is an MP4 format. Then the majority of everything else in this file is an exe file. It's almost like you have to convert it afterwards, but it's not even showing in my download history at all. Wait a sec, main driveway, what's going on here? It says it's actually in my download history now, but it's stalled. It's not doing anything. It's just sitting there. It's not downloading at all. It says pause it or cancel it. Let's try to pause it 1 sec, and let's resume. And it's just sitting there. It's not even going anywhere. I'm about to get rickrolled. Never gonna let you up. I actually liked that song back in the day when I was a kid, believe it or not. I'm gonna have to abort this mission. That's crazy that footage can't be downloaded like that. Oh, wait a second. It says starting, but it's not doing anything. Wait a second. It is starting. Hold up. No, it's misleading. I'm going to go to Cash App here. Rami sent me a Cash App. Going to the wrong app. Cash App. Let's take a look at what we got here. Rami. Never going to lift you up. Never going to say goodbye. Never going to turn around and desert you. Yeah, copyright infringement. All right, we got Wings Fund here. Rami said, get some wings. Well, Rami, I've already gotten some wings, so that will pay for the wings I just bought because I bought about three bags of wings yesterday. Thank you so much for that Cash App. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. Get some wings. Will do. No problem at all. Well, I already did, so that kind of takes care of the weekend wing fun. I had lemon pepper wings yesterday, which were fantastic. Which is absolutely great. I usually have buffalo wings most of the time, but if you could hack, you'd be unstoppable. That's funny. Yeah, don't be a hacker. There you go. It's just sitting there. It's still, it says opening when complete. It's not even doing anything. Yeah, it's just sitting there in complete limbo. I've never seen something like that before. All right. All right, Good there. All right, let's move on to something else here. We tried, Emily. Thank you for the information. Unfortunately, it wasn't downloading. It will, you know what will probably happen? The thing will download right after the show ends. And I'll be like, wonderful. Now that I'm off the air, it decides it wants to download. It will complete at like 4:30 or something. We'll see. All right, let's see what else we got here for conversation today. It's motion reschedule, we'll skip. Motion practice. Yeah, he didn't want motions anymore. We talked about the prescription drugs. July 9th was Higgins deposition. Let's see what else we got. Oh, I want to read this tweet from Brother Counsel, actually. This is about the Proctor, the tweet about Proctor. This is a good one here. All right, let's get this shared up. I got Rick Roll's voice. Are you kidding me? All right. I remember when I was a kid, every Friday my mom would go to the bank. And we, you know, obviously being little tiny kids in the late 80s or whatever it was, early 90s, we'd go to the bank, and that song would be on the radio like every single week. We go to the bank, then we go to McDonald's for lunch, and that Rickroll song, when it was in its time, would be on that radio every week. And I just always remembered that song. On every day. People used to get Rickrolled every day back when that song was new. All right, so Brother Counsel tweeted on July 8th. At 12:12 this week, he says, in Karen Reed's motion to clarify the record, it is stated that Proctor's attorney provided the tweet to Judge Gildea. If that is true, I still have many questions. Here are just a couple of them. When did Proctor's attorney provide it to the judge? If he provided it on or around June 8th, why did it take until June 29th for the judge to order the emergency hearing? What happened in the interim? That's a great argument, because I figure there's people out there that are monitoring the internet and every tweet that comes through. And you have to figure, good to see you, JC. Hope you're having a good day at work. You have to figure people are monitoring this. And if they are, then why would it take so long for the judge to receive this, right? Well, why would it take so long for the judge to order the emergency hearing? Because if he ordered an emergency hearing, he probably did that not long after he learned about this particular tweet, right? So what happened in between? That's a great argument that Brother Counsel makes. Number two, did Proctor's attorney find the tweet himself? That's a big question that should be asked. Did Proctor's attorney find it himself, or did someone else provide it to him? I'm going to honestly guess that somebody probably provided it to him. If someone else did, who was it? And did that person provide the tweet with the altered timestamp of 2:52 instead of the correct timestamp of 10:52? If Proctor's attorney found it himself, why did he think it was 2:52 when it says 10:52? So again, this is all just mysterious stuff here. I thought that was very bizarre throughout all of this as well. Just the timestamps being a little bit off. And, you know, my guess is obviously some other parties are out there providing it to whomever. Baker Raid, all right. Thank you guys for tuning in. Baker Raid in the house. Good to see you guys. Hope you guys are having a great afternoon. Brooke and Baker doing his thing. Having a show today. You tag me in a post. Let me get to that in moments here. Kelly, if I do not get to that post in 5 minutes, remind me. I hope I don't get too sidetracked, but I'll try to remember. I just saw Tom CPU in that video walking out of the court there with Alan Jackson. Let's see. What else we got here? No, it's still not downloading. Melinda Reynolds sends a cash app. Let's read that right now. Get that out of the way for her. Melinda says, great show. Thank you so much, Melinda. I appreciate that. Thank you for your cash app today. I'll give you that a little response emoji as well. Thank you. Great show. Thank you for your time today watching the show and enjoying the show, catching up with all of us. I think everybody that participates in this show as well. I'm not talking about donations. I'm talking about contributing to the conversation, giving their input on certain subject matter that we're talking about, providing what they know, what they think. This is great. One of the best parts of the show is not only to talk about what's going on out there, but to interact with everybody, that's tuning in. Thank you guys for tuning in on a Saturday and having a conversation about this latest information. So we continue here. Again, all these dates were interesting here. The dates, the times, that he asks, it's all off. Number 3, if someone else provided it to Proctor's attorney, what steps did Proctor's attorney take to verify the tweet's authenticity, particularly the timestamp, to ensure that no allegation of the leak was made without a good faith basis? Great question. Being an attorney as he is, these are the kind of thoughts that they have too, not only from a mind of what went on and how did this get there, but also from an attorney's mindset of what needs to be done to ensure that whatever you're presenting to the court is valid, legitimate, and 100% accurate without any confusion, such as timestamps or anything else like that. Number 4, will the judge apologize for causing unnecessary expense by requiring the parties to appear in person based on a false leak allegation? Let's be clear. Alan Jackson has to fly cross country just to be here. And it's amazing that Alan Jackson will, anybody that goes to a flight to it doesn't matter if you're going 3 or 4 states away from where you live. It doesn't matter if you're flying to Pennsylvania or flying to South Carolina. It takes some time to get to the airport, get on the plane, wait for your plane to take off, travel, get off the plane, get your rental car, get to your hotel. It's a lot to do. It's a lot to do. It's insane. It's not easy. So again, will he apologize for causing unnecessary expense by requiring the parties to appear in person based on a false leak allegation? I know. Why couldn't he just done like a Zoom call? Why did it need to be on a holiday weekend? Why couldn't it have been done where, hey, let's just do it by Zoom? Will he correct the record regarding his finding that his court order was violated? Right? It's just unreal. Over and over and over again. All right, stop there. Good post by Brother Counsel. Read that. Let's see. All right, I'm going to go to Kelly's. Kelly has tagged me. I'm going to try to locate that now. Let's see. This must be the taillight. Kelly, was it the taillight post? I'll post it right here. Is this the post you're referring to? Right here. I think I'm tagged in this one. Let me double check. Okay, that's it. Perfect. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. All right, good. All right, here we go. Again, follow Kelly _Steffi on Twitter or X. Riddle me this. If the taillight shattered and its pieces were scattered throughout the yard and buried under snow, how is it possible that Buchanan recovered what appears to be the one entire section? The CERT team recovered another matching section, and Proctor recovered yet another. So it talks about 3 different parties here collecting. How is it that Buchanan recovered what appears to be one entire section, the CERT team recovered another matching section, and Proctor recovered yet another? How did each investigator end up finding distinct portions that fit together like a puzzle? Right. That's a great argument. That is a fantastic argument where it all just fits perfectly, especially in a situation where the taillight shattered and then they're just piecing it back together. So this diagram on the right seems to be very effective here for the argument. Let's open up this one and go right into it. Let's share this. This seems to go hand in hand with the post here. So that's the Proctor piece. That's the CERT piece. That's the Buchanan piece. And then just like a glove, 1, 2, 3. And again, this is taillight that allegedly had shattered. Unbelievable. Thank you so much for coming, Emily. Yep. It just did, exactly. It just did. All right. Share this tab instead. Kevin from South Boston with Mr. Bean. Yeah. And then, another question too is what about all the other pieces of taillight that they allegedly found? They just like she said, they all individually find a piece, it all plugs together, it all fits. It's like they all I need a movie. I haven't done movie examples in a while, but it's like if something let's go with Captain Planet TV show, right? They all got their rings, they got what, earth, wind, fire, water or something like that, and if they put their rings together they form Captain Planet. It's like they just broke it up and just said, okay, you get this piece, you take this piece, Bukake, take this piece, Proctor, take this piece. Is that how it happened? I don't know, but it's like it's too clean. It's almost too clean, and like she says, if the taillight shattered and its pieces were scattered throughout the yard and buried under the snow, then how is it that Buchanan recovered an entire section, the CERT team recovered another, and Proctor recovered yet another? How did each investigator end up finding distinct portions that fit together like a puzzle? Exactly. It's too clean. It's way too clean. Because an additional argument, or just to kind of go off this argument and talk about this more deeply, if you look at the cracks, because you can see where the taillight kind of fits back together, it fits like a glove, like Kelly said, it fits like a glove. It just is, it's too clean. 1 second. If it was shattered, if something shatters, it's usually got larger portions, smaller portions, and then a lot of times those smaller portions might be so messed up you just can't fit it back together. And this is way too clean, especially when you're talking about John O'Keefe's arm. Because obviously, how could if it was just, we're just looking at this portion alone, how does this portion solely cause those wounds? And why? And how? You know what I mean? That does not make sense, to say the least. That's a fact. Go to KY Maverick here. In the wrongful death case, let's make sure this is Sharon. In the wrongful death case, who would be the key witness to question about the surveillance video of Karen Reed's car entering the Sally Port with 2 red taillights? I would call Prosecutor Lally to the stand, given that the defense apparently was not provided with this video during the criminal trials. That's a great point. I mean, obviously, the prosecution was always in a fight, or the defense was always in a fight with the prosecution to get certain information. Liza Little would go up there. David Unetti would go up there. I am not fervent. Big fan of fervent. Right. Pieces would be all mixed up. No question. No skin, no blood. It's too clean. It fits together too nicely. And not only that, to your point, Andrew, where's the skin fragments? Where's the blood? And not only that, why were they able to recover all the pieces if some of those pieces should have actually probably gone into John O'Keefe's arm? We talked about Die Hard earlier when John McClane is barefoot and steps on glass and it sticks into his foot and he has to pick it out. It's a sickening scene, but it's accurate, right? Well, if a vehicle backed into John O'Keefe and shattered and that taillight is alleged to have cut his arms, you mean to tell me all those pieces just cut his arms and then just landed to the ground and none of them had blood or skin, to your point? In addition to that, my earlier point, that none of that taillight just stuck in his arm? and stayed there and didn't have to be removed by medics. And at no point were photos taken of that in an autopsy and shown that this arm was, well, yeah, look, it was taillight that caused it. I mean, if you look at the photos, there's taillight in his arm. I mean, the taillight would have been in his arm. There's no way, not at least a portion of taillight. I just never thought of this to today, which is crazy. As long as I followed this case, how is it possible that none of that taillight would be sticking in his arm? It all just lands. And then to Kelly's point about the pieces being so clean, not just in, and I say clean, not in terms of like clean of skin or blood, but what about, like the fact that these pieces just fit together so perfectly, like Kelly pointed out in her post. That doesn't make sense. And then before you even get into that, this footage here with the taillight perfectly in place. And again, KY Ramrick says, who would be the key witness to question about the surveillance video? 2 red taillights. And again, he questions the prosecution because the prosecution should have given this information to them. Emily C. was able to produce the Google Drive, but I couldn't even download the footage, and we wonder if maybe the defense could not as well. I think maybe the defense at some point had made an argument about receiving information from the defense that couldn't be accessed, if I recall. I cannot recall when that happened, but it's intense. Conveniently, there was only pieces of taillight in the sweatshirt which Proctor had control of. Right. And the thing is when they produced Proctor's sweatshirt, it had exhibited some signs of, some hell breaking loose. You know what I'm saying? Some obvious reasons that would suggest, hey, something's happened here. But there's nothing there. I might want to play the footage from Justice Served of Seligson. Let me see if I can get that. That's something I haven't covered yet. And that download, still not downloading. I just canceled it. To hell with it. Let's go to Justice Served TV. Justice Served TV. It was good to go on their show a couple months ago to talk about Kelsey Fitzsimmons. Mike and Linda are great people. They do great work. I like their show. I like how a lot of times, like they do like a classical style where one of them's in the studio, one of them's in the field, and we're doing like a lot of live interviews. Sometimes with Michael during the Kelsey Fitzsimmons trial, and we get the exclusive interview. Damon Seligson. 1 second. Let's get that here and here. So Justice Served caught up. Let's get this shared, ladies and gentlemen. Follow Justice Served TV. You can follow them on YouTube. You can follow them on X as well. Linda and Mike. We're going to go to that now. Just bouncing around today. There's really no order of topics today. It's kind of like a casual Saturday. All right, so here we go. Play the footage here.
Pretty quick hearing in one regard, but
and this was yesterday's footage.
Quick hearing in one regard, but can we confirm that based on what the court said, all of the depositions have been worked out, except for some details relating to documents in the Karen Reed deposition?
Yeah, we're working on being cooperative with all counsel, and we are abiding by the judge's request that we get the discovery done, and depositions are going forward. And the parties are working as cooperatively as we can, but done within the discovery deadline.
What's your takeaway on the Cullen Albert process?
Well, it sounds like he's got steps to jump through to try and get to his deposition. It sounds like his lawyer's trying to get him here, and we're working on narrowing the scope of a subpoena, but we're working hard, and we'll have to see what his situation looks like.
Concerned at all about the August 17 deadline?
I mean, it's a tight time frame, but we're working pretty hard, and we're getting as much done as we possibly can. There's a lot of lawyers involved, there's a lot of moving parts, there's overlap of discovery, and so we're just doing the best we can to try and get it done by the deadline.
Ready for next week?
Always.
That's going to be a whole different day than today.
The slap motion argument, we were on the other side of the same issue in the federal court in the other case. So yeah, next week's going to be busy.
Have you heard anything from the federal court? Because I know there was a request to move that date.
The date that was denied. That hearing's going forward.
All right. We'll see you next week.
Thanks a lot.
All right. David Seligson there. 1 second. Yeah, just a lot of moving parts. It's again, it just seems like it's a constant game in terms of like deadlines here, deadlines there, can't reach this person, gonna have to subpoena this person, all that's going on. It's just been absolutely wild through and through. So it's just intense to see, quite honestly. But it's good to see Michael Bryan out there. He had tweeted about this as well. One of his thoughts was, one more thought from Jen. Let's make sure this is share. Oh, okay, there we go. Yeah, it's exactly. It does feel like it seems like a bombshell every single day, quite honestly. Exactly. That's the case I'm getting too. Going back to it here. Let's go here. We got it, Sharon? Yes, we do. Okay, perfect. One more thought from Judge G today. He criticized Seligson for suggesting his office reviewed material and determined it was not relevant to a plaintiff doc request, saying you can't decide what is and is not relevant. Of course you can't, Judge. Leave that to the NCDA office to do for every phone records requested by defense in every case ever. It's I don't know. It's just things like this that are starting to kind of make me shake my head a little bit more about just what's going on in this case and what is and is not protocol, what is and is not procedure, arguments I think that shouldn't be happening. Again, it just bothers me he walked out on Alan Jackson like that. They had that big agreement yesterday that went on for a while. We talk about the financial records here. So we go. The confirmation of this obviously was done. Brian Higgins, Brian Tully deposed. That was done. Mike outside. That's about it for that. I'll see what else I got for you guys today. Got a little bit more time here. Then I got some things I got to take care of. Things I got to do. We talked about this opposition. Michael Proctor opposes Karen Reid's emergency motion to restart his deposition. Oh, yeah, let's talk about this, actually. Let's read through this one. This is from Kelly. We'll read through this. Someone wants me to wear, you want me to wear an apron that says Hot Girl Summer on it? That's funny. No, I'm going to take care. I'm going to griddle tomorrow. I'm going to be doing it tomorrow. I got some other stuff to do today that needs to be done. So then I'm going to have some fun in the evening and night. Should be a good night. Casual Saturday for me in the mid part of the day, then the evenings and a little bit more fun. This is fun too. This show's fun, obviously. Activities. We have so much room for activities. All right, let's get this done. This is my other backup seltzer today. I got the Prickly Pear Gava Punch, which is pretty good. That's pretty good. Thing actually fell over before I opened it about an hour ago. I was expecting the whole thing to explode when I opened it, but it never did. So that's good news. All right, we're moving forward here. Here we go. That should be at 200% zoom, and it is. All right, from Kelly. Oh, no. Oh, no. 1 second. I don't know why it goes all the way to the back like that. The front, like top of the page. Here we go. O'Keefe versus Reed, wrongful death suit. New filing. Michael Proctor opposes Karen Reed's emergency motion to restart his deposition. Former Massachusetts State Police Trooper Michael Proctor has formally opposed Karen Reed's emergency motion asking the court to lift the stay on his deposition. In his filing, Proctor argues the motion should be denied because it fails to address what he describes as the public dissemination of information about his medical condition and deposition shortly after the June 25th proceeding. Can I make an argument here? If somebody has a panic attack, is that really a medical condition? I don't know. Let's see what we got here. I was rude coming in and not saying hi to you, Mazza, as well as Mullen Law and Romney. Thank you all for hosting. You're welcome. I mean, yeah, can that be argued as a medical condition? You know, is it just somebody having if somebody's in a bad mood, is that a medical condition? Oh, thank you so much. Appreciate that. Appreciate that greatly. Panic attack. That's true. I guess so. Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, panic attacks. So panic attacks would be followed under mental health, right? So they'd call it what? Define it for me. I'm not trying to be negligent, but I'm just. Thank you, Boxer, for the super chat. Yeah, so they would say. So they would define panic. So essentially, panic would be followed under mental health, basically, as opposed to just somebody like freaking out about something momentarily or being in a bad mood. They'd have to determine it as, you know, what I'm saying is because I don't know the level of how he reacted. And I'm not saying mental health is not a joke, just to be clear about that. But what I am saying is the measurements of his. So they say panic attack, but is it like a momentary panic, right? That's, say, low level. Or is it something that's just through the roof that would be of the level of a, let's say, needed to go to a facility for that, needed some medication for, you know what I'm saying? So that's what, so if they say panic attack, you know, that's a pretty serious statement. So, okay, all right, fine. I'll defer out after some time here with the chat to make sure I'm up to speed, that we would agree that, what's this downloading here? Connections for the main driveway didn't connect. Let's say I canceled it. 1 second. Actually, it's downloading right now. Oh, the main driveway thing just downloaded. That's good. Yeah, so maybe that's what I'm confusing with anxiety. Maybe I'm confusing it with anxiety a little bit. And because of that, that would be determined as a medical. Okay, I'm fine with that. All right, perfect. I just wanted to get a better understanding. I don't want to be like, I don't want to come off as rude or insincere. It's just like I'm trying to kind of mentally evaluate something that I'm a little bit less familiar with. So thank you guys for kind of having this conversation with me to give me a better perspective on that. We got the footage too. The footage that it didn't is it not coming through here? It downloaded, but now it's not gonna come through. Let's see. I'm gonna see if I can play it through. All right, so we're going to say panic attack was a medical qualifier. All right, so we agree with that. And then public dissemination about his medical condition and deposition. Sure, okay, fine. All right, so we'll go with this. It's usually combined with PTSD, anxiety. I have Xanax 3 times a day if needed for my anxiety and panic attacks. Perfect, okay. All right, so we'll say that that's a legitimate reason from a medical standpoint to be angry, or let's get this up here. Right here. In his filing, Proctor argues the motion should be denied because it fails to address what he describes as the public dissemination of information about his medical condition and deposition shortly after the June 25th proceeding. I think Aiden had argued this was a fake panic attack here too, where he basically just tried to kind of manifest it because it would be a nice way out. So there we go. which is potentially likely. According to Proctor, within approximately 30 minutes of the deposition ending, Aiden Carney, Turtleboy, posted on X that Proctor had allegedly suffered a panic attack, left the deposition, and had been seen outside being consoled by his attorneys. Well, let me make this argument. Proctor argues the motion should be denied because it fails to address what he describes as the public dissemination of information about his medical condition. However, Proctor had allegedly suffered a panic attack, left the deposition, and had been outside being consoled by his attorneys. Therefore, finding a loophole here, would not Michael Proctor have been in public when this happened? Because he had been outside. He had left the deposition, right? He was no longer in the confines of his deposition because he had left it. And he had, did I lose it? And he had been seen outside. So he technically was in public. So as far as I'm concerned, if he was in public when this happened, then what Aiden Carney did by posting about it would not be essentially public dissemination of information about his medical condition. Well, and deposition shortly. Well, I mean, yeah, I guess if he had a panic attack, whatever. But the thing is, if they're concerned about public dissemination of information, then he had been outside when it happened in public. So realistically, it's no right. There's no expectation of privacy in public spaces. So essentially, as far as I'm concerned, wouldn't that be right? He was already out in public. So would that not now no longer entitle him, let's just say, for example, let's get a little extreme. Let's say he had a heart attack, okay, in the middle of his deposition. Now, the heart attack happened during the deposition. The medical staff went in. They took him to the hospital. They saved his life, and all that happened. Okay, let's just go to an extreme here, right? Now, somehow that information got out. And they're like, oh, my goodness, this should have never been known. It was behind closed doors. Exactly, Emily. He didn't, great point. Aiden didn't get any confidential information. That is exactly well said. I like that post. Thank you. Comment. Thank you. That's exactly right. So if, say, somebody had a heart attack, or say if he had a heart attack behind closed doors, then that got out, I guess they'd have an argument. But let's say he walked outside and a heart attack happened and it was a big scene and there were witnesses all over the place, and then that information got out. It happened in public, right? So sometimes certain things happen that can't be hidden. So this is something that happened in public. So again, they say it right here. According to Proctor, right? Aiden posted on X that Proctor had allegedly suffered a panic attack, left the deposition, and had been seen outside being consoled by his attorneys. So if he was being seen outside, then there is no right to privacy at that point, because that's that. So Proctor argues the timing and content of the post raised serious concerns that confidential information from the deposition had been improperly disclosed. Well, again, up here it says in summary that he left the deposition and had been seen outside being consoled by his attorneys. So raising the serious concern that confidential information from the deposition, well, that's not true, because here's the thing. If Michael Proctor was at Walmart earlier that day or later that day, or he went to Target, or maybe he went to an IMAX movie theater, or he went to a lobster roll place, and he had a panic attack in public, and somebody tweeted about that, there's no cover from that, because again, that's something that happened in public. And it's the same thing here. Once he leaves that deposition, as it's summarizing here, and he's outside, then he's outside. There's no, oh, well, he left the deposition because he had a panic attack. I get it. But I don't think there's an argument for privacy when he left and he went outside and was consoled by his attorneys for all to see. I mean, anybody could have taken a picture of that. Anybody could have recorded that if they wanted to. Anybody could have talked about that. Therefore, there's really nothing about Aiden Carney posting about it on X that would really be prohibited. And really, in my opinion, anything that he couldn't talk about. It sounds to me like it's fair game. Right. Exactly. Right. If he's in the public realm, how do they expect privacy? Exactly. And again, I'm trying to look at this as analytically and as unbiasedly as I can here. But I just think, yeah, good point, Emily. Yeah, it's insane. You know, it's like you went out in public and now it's, oh, gee, I can't believe people are talking about what happened while I was in the middle of public. You know, again, he argues the timing and content of the post raised serious concerns that confidential information from the deposition had been improperly disclosed. Well, again, it's only confidential information if it's like, say, for example, he had a panic attack. Well, he was actually in the deposition, and then that leaked, and then that got out. Well, then maybe they'd have an argument. But if he's actually seen outside, then, you know, there's really no intent. There's no entitlement to privacy at that point, as far as I'm concerned. And the chat seems to very much strongly stand the same way, in agreement on that. He maintains those concerns justified the court's decision to temporarily halt further discovery involving him while the issue is addressed. The filing asks the court to deny Karen Read's request for reconsideration and leave the stay on his deposition in place. That's crazy. Judge Gildea ultimately agreed, denying the motion for reconsideration and keeping the temporary stay on Proctor's deposition in effect pending further order of the court. The dispute now centers on whether the information posted publicly originated from someone involved in the deposition. Here we go. I haven't read this yet. The dispute now centers on whether the information posted publicly originated from someone involved in the deposition or from observations made outside the proceeding. A key issue the defense strongly disputed in its reply. Right. Yeah, it's contested right now. But I think once you go out in the public, I mean, and again, if the guy's panicking, it doesn't take an expert to determine if he's panicking. So are they going to try to argue that, oh, this guy was seen panicking and someone that was involved in that deposition? Whatever. But I mean, there's all kinds of people outside these proceedings. I mean, you look at that Justice Served TV video we just watched, right? I mean, you go back to this, for example, and this is typically outside of a courtroom. It's fairly obvious. There's a guy in the background listening to Justice Served interview Seligson, Attorney Seligson. People are all over the place outside. Once you go outside, anybody can listen in. It's fair game. I don't know. It's just, again, what's what here, as always. What is what? You know, it's just wild stuff. Well, all right, folks, I'm going to call it a show here today. Thank you guys for tuning in. Great show. We went over a lot of stuff, caught up quite a bit. As I said, I'm working on a show with Moesk soon. Talk about Karen Read, talk about Turtleboy, go over that information. And we got KY Maverick next week, looking like the 19th. Common Sense Investigator will likely host that. and we're going to go over a fundraiser for KY Maverick is the plan. We're working on that behind the scenes. Lori Mullen, Lauren from Common Sense Investigator, myself. We're going to probably extend an invite, obviously, to a few other people as well. We're working on that. We're kind of sketching it out right now, but we're targeting the 19th and all that. So what else I got for you? That's about it. I don't know if I'm going to be back tomorrow night. I don't know yet, but we'll see. And beyond that, you guys have a great weekend. I got a lot of stuff I got to take care of right now to get on with, so I was going to cut off by 3. I was probably going to go for a 2-hour show. I went over by 50 minutes, but guys, thank you so much. Just a few quick shout outs here. Did I miss? Nope, I got them all. Thank you to Fuzzy Duck Puppet for your super chat. Thank you to the Goodmans, 4431 for your super chat. Thank you to Boxer 261 for your super chat. Thank you to Rami and Melinda for your cash apps as well today. Thank you guys so much for that. I greatly appreciate that. And we will be back again, possibly tomorrow. We'll see. I'll talk with Mo and see if she's available tomorrow. If not, we'll maybe push that the next weekend and see what we can do. But you guys take care of yourselves. Have a great weekend. Stay cool. If you guys are at the beach or anything this weekend, have fun. Swimming pools, have fun. Stay cool. And that will be it. So you guys take care. From Mazda Media, I'm Mark. Have a great day. Take care now. Bye-bye then.